All right, y'all. This is HeKnows Sport bringing you that heat and that fire. We keeping the foot on the what? On the next. We keeping the foot on the what? On the next. All right, y'all. I got my guest here. Special guest in the building, Jacob LONEWOLF. Jacob LONEWOLF, let the people know what's going on with you, man. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, how's everybody doing out there? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to everybody, wherever part of the world you're at. This is your boy Jacob Longwolf, live here in Melbourne, and I want to thank Sport, for thinking highly of me, to invite me to this live stream. And so when he asked me to, join, it was a no-brainer. We were meant to come on yesterday, but obviously, these tough times, things just pop off at the moment. So I had some things that I had to do yesterday, so I really wanted to come on today to make it up. So he knows his support. Thank you, for inviting me to the live stream.
Okay. All right. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm glad that you could participate on this live stream. This one right here is the life edition,
Yeah,
live with HeKnows. So we're going to be talking about some life issues. We're going to put
yeah,
sports to the side. First topic at hand, I want your take, and I want to know, what does the abundance mindset mean to you?
yeah. Well, yeah, the way I learned the abundance mindset was from his sport. Just when he keeps making his videos about sports and basketball, and boxing, and I would notice that every time in his videos, he would use catchphrases, or he would say like little like subtle things, and that would make me like And he would always talk about the abundance mindset. Now, what the abundance mindset means to me is having an abundance mindset is that that there's like a whole lot of opportunity out there for you. You live life knowing that life is full of possibilities and life is full of rewards, and you work hard every single day, to achieve and find those opportunities. And having the abundance mindset is that you're always progressive. You're always looking for new ways to innovate and recreate yourself. You don't look at the world as, oh my God, like there's no opportunity. You look at it as, hey, if there's a problem, there's an opportunity. So there's endless opportunities in the world. So having an abundance mindset means that that there's opportunities out there for you that you can achieve and that you can reach your dream. So let's just say someone like Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe Bryant is the definition. He had the abundance mindset. When he first got into the league, he said he wanted to win 8 championships. Now, if you're an NBA player, you don't even dream of winning those much championships. But Kobe, said that was his goal. Even though he didn't fulfill it, he won 5, which is good in and of itself. That's an example of the abundance mindset. Michael Jordan had the abundance mindset. He always looked for ways to recreate himself. He always looked for ways to, be innovative and, have a great game. Because with MJ, he always like once he did something, he forgot about it. He was always, up for the next new challenges. So having the abundance mindset means that you're not complacent and you're always challenging yourself and you're always looking for ways to innovate yourself, and you always want more. So that's the abundance mindset, and that there's more out there for you to achieve, and you should never settle. So that's my brief description of what the abundance mindset is.
Okay, that's a great illustration of the abundance mindset. I'm glad you factored Kobe Bryant into the equation. Abundance mindset, when you think of it and you think of the totality of it, the mindset versus a scarcity mindset is what it means. Abundance. When you think of the term abundance, what does that mean? It means a overcompensation, or it means basically a overfilling of something. When you think of scarcity, you take out the CITY and you put an E in front of it. It means scared. It means to be afraid. So when you think of abundance and you think of scarcity, you have to look at it in those lamest terms. Abundance, plentiful. Scarcity, scary. Being scared. Now let's look at the actual definition of abundance mindset. A person with an abundance mindset focuses on the limitless opportunities available in business and life. They choose to focus on positive things in their life rather than the negative things. As a result, this abundance mindset attracts opportunities, people, and creativity into their lives. Scarcity mindset, there's never enough. Many people have what's known as a scarcity mindset or a scarcity mentality. In the simplest terms, the scarcity mentality or mindset is the belief that there will never be enough, whether it's money, food, emotions, or something else entirely. As a result, your actions and thoughts stem from a place of lack. See, when we think of it, we have to look at the totality of why the abundance mindset is situated the way it is in today's society and why the scarcity mindset is the way it is. Most people walking around have a scarcity mindset because they don't believe in their own potential. They don't believe in their own selves. They don't believe that they can progress. They don't believe that they can move forward in life. They feel that they have to trade their time for money. They feel that they have to live a life of condition. And what I mean by condition is live a life of what they've seen in front of them from generation to generation. They don't realize that they have been given limitless potential by the man above. The man above is a man of procreation, a man of blessing, right? So hence the term, we as human beings have been put on this planet for one sole purpose, and that's to procreate. But in procreation comes what? Being fruitful and multiply. It says to procreate, be fruitful and multiply. Fruitful means to basically bear fruit. What do I mean by that? Bear fruit in your life, bear fruit in business, bear fruit in those that are around you. Be an asset as opposed to a liability. Now, we know that there are life, upbringings, and we understand that people have gone through some things that have caused them to think the way that they have thought, right? Through the evolution and through the course of life. But there's such a thing called resiliency. And believe it or not, we all have that. Now, the question is, how do we tap into that? There's no such thing as I'm 80 years old. Listen, as long as you're breathing on this planet, you have an abundance mindset and you can actually tap into it and you can actually turn it around into something of what's called succession. And how do you become successful? Through failures and failures and failures of life. You go through so many different trials and you go through so many different tribulations, but in going through that and in pushing yourself through these things, eventually you're going to turn around. You're going to grow into something that if you are willing to push yourself, if you are willing to take yourself to the next level, you can actually grow from it. Bottom line is that's what the abundance mindset is. In lamest terms, so when you guys hear me say in a video, be men and women of confidence, purpose, and an abundance mindset, I roll everything in threes because the number 3 means the number of confirmation. 3 and 7 are God's numbers. And if you guys have done your extensive study on the Bible and you've done some extensive study on the spiritual and the biblical meanings behind the number 3 and the number 7, you would understand the confirmation that's associated with these numbers. This is why when I speak in my videos, I'm always talking in 3s or I'm always talking in 7s, because these are the numbers of confirmation. They confirm things, they manifest things, they allow things to come into existence. There's power in the tongue. This is why those who have an abundance mindset, if you notice, they always have a strong sense of self-belief, right? They have a strong sense of, physical presence. They have the ability and the willingness to lead and make decisions. They are cool, calm, and collected in high pressure situations. And they have social intelligence, the ability to, the ability in order for them to interact and speak with others. The reason why they have this is because they operate in a positive mindset. To them, there's no such thing as going backwards. If you remember Luke Cage, if you remember Pops and Luke Cage, he would always tell Luke Cage, always forward, never backward. This was what upward mobility is about. And folks have to have this upward mobility mentality. This is how you're going to get to the next level. There can't be no in your vocabulary. Even when people sit there and make fun of you and say, you look like this, or, you don't know what you're doing, or you just need to go sit down somewhere. You have to look at it as they're just talking. They don't know they don't know what's going on. They don't know your purpose. They don't know what you have that's bigger than what's in front of you. And as long as you lock in and as long as you focus on what you got going on, you will rock. That's what the abundance mindset is. Never quitting, never buckling under pressure. never allowing yourself to bend the proverbial knee. Now, that's the difference between the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset. Scarcity being afraid, not allowing yourself to achieve what you want to achieve in life. Always being scared that a situation is not going to manifest itself because that situation just can't. That's the difference. And we as human beings, we all can tap into an abundance mindset. We all can tap into a mindset that tells us that we can push forward. When you look at a Kobe Bryant on a basketball court, why does he have an abundance mindset like you talked about? Because even if he misses a shot, he's going to think about the next shot that he can put up. That's what abundance mindset is all about. So what if I miss the last shot? I'm putting up the next shot. Now, what is a scarcity mindset? A LeBron James. I don't want the ball when the game is on the line. I don't want to take the last shot. That's a scarcity mindset. I prefer to pass the ball to my teammate because that's the right play. That's a scarcity mindset. Those who have an abundance mindset, they want to be the ones when the pressure arises for them to take over, for them to dominate, right? And pressure is not something that you can take over. Pressure is not something that you can totally dominate. Pressure has one or two things that can happen in those instances. Either you become best friends with it, or you get basically burst by the pipes of pressure. Those who have an abundance mindset become best friends with pressure. Those who have a scarcity mindset have pipes that are burst by pressure. And that's the differential between an abundance mindset and a scarcity mindset. The issue now is we have to look at society today. We have to look at how society has evolved. We have to look at people today and see how people have manifested. And most people today have a scarcity mindset. They're afraid to do things. They are afraid to accomplish their goals. They are afraid to take themselves to the next level. They are afraid of life. Life is tough. It's easy. It's easy for someone to be asleep forever. You know why it's easy for them to be asleep forever? Because when you're asleep, you're sleeping. But when you're alive, you have to go through the pressures of life. You have to go through the peaks and the valleys. You have to go through the ebbs and the flows. You have to go through the trials and the tribulations. And life can kick people in the butt. But here's the thing. It's that old school term. What doesn't kill you make you stronger, right? So that's the difference between the abundance and the scarcity mindset. Don't be afraid to fail in life. You're going to fail over and over and over again. But at some point, you're going to succeed. And here's the beauty of it. You just need to succeed one time. That's it. That's really what it boils down to. You just need one time of succession, no matter how many times you fail, in order for you to overcome. So having an abundance mindset is having that unlimited pressure. See, when I use these terms, I'm using these terms from a place of not just me talking because I want to be wordy or I want to use wordplay. I know I have the gift of gab, et cetera, but it's not from that standpoint. It's more so from the standpoint of life to me is about unlimited pressure. I like to be under the gun. I like to be under pressurized situations. I feel like me and pressure are best friends. I've always said that because in those moments, I feel that I can thrive. And believe it or not, let me give you an example. You got guys, right? Thank you, Suki Knight. You got to push yourself forward. Look at the guys in jail. You're about to laugh, but this is so true. Men in jail are the best charmers on the planet. If you notice, they always have a lot of these women come to the jail cells, pretty much stay in relationships with them. And we're talking about a person who can't leave a jail cell. How are they having women gravitate towards them? How are they able to keep long-term situations? How are they able to have conjugal visits in the jail cell? Now, we can even go even further. How are they able to bribe, officers to do certain things, et cetera, et cetera? Let me explain why. Because they are confined, into that prison, it forces them to have to do something that they normally probably wouldn't do, right? It forces them to have to be better with their words. It forces them to have charm. It forces them to have charisma. But you see, it took for them to have to be in those extreme situations for them to be that way. So I use that example to say this, even though it's a very extreme example. Why does it take extreme measures for people to have to really push themselves to get where they need to get to? We live, believe it or not, in an environment where opportunity is there for us. It's just a matter of how we tap into the opportunity. If you have access to the internet, you have access to social media, you have time. If you got time to go out there and spend 2 to 3 hours in the club, you got time to spend 3 to 4 hours in a barbershop, you got time to put in that work, man. You got time to get on your purpose. You got time to write a book. You got time to go out there. Salute to you, lowland prophets. You got time to go out there and, you know what I'm saying, do what you're doing, the business ventures of Carrot Bars, which is what we're going to get into. You have time to build a website. You have time. And here's the thing about time. Time doesn't wait for no man. And people need to understand that. Time will always be undefeated. And eventually, the man above is going to come and take your corporeal soul. He's going to take he's going to leave the corporeal body, and he's going to take the soul. What can you tell the man above that you did with the time that you had here? So really, the reason why I was inspired to start doing the life edition of HeKnows is because of current and recent situations that's going on right now. And we all know what's going on. We're dealing with the pandemic of coronavirus. We're dealing with the George Floyd situation. We're dealing with so many things that's going on right now. And in this time of social distancing, did people really take the time to get better? And when I say get better, I'm talking about self-improvement. Did they take the time out to read a book at least? Did they take the time out to get in the gym? Did they take the time out if you are overweight? Did you take the time out to put time into your health? Did they take time out to improve yourself? This is what self-improvement is about. It's not just about, oh, you know, let me go get a business, you know, or let me try to see how I can, you know, help my finances out. These things are great. These are things that are necessities. These are things that you definitely want to do in life. But self-improvement is about you improving yourself, hence the word self-improvement. Now, you've heard me use this terminology. Self-preservation is the law of the land. How many people are preserving themselves? That's the underlying question. That's the underlying thing that we have to ask ourselves. And are people doing this stuff? You know, are people just getting by? This social distancing time should teach people that this living paycheck to paycheck nonsense is for the birds. And you need to create something. Because this time right here is proven to everyone that if you thought you had enough, then you need to go get more. And if you get out of this social distancing and you haven't gotten better, and you haven't improved yourself in any area of your life, then shame on you. I'm going to say that again. If you have spent all of this time at home, you know, teleworking, doing these different things, because let's keep it real. When you're teleworking, you do have time to do a lot of other stuff too. And if you had the time to do that and you didn't take that time to improve yourself, whether it was from your health, whether if it was a relationship, whether if it was business, whether if it was finance, then you need to look at yourself in the mirror and you need to say shame on yourself. Because this is the difference between the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset. A scarcity mindset is always going to be afraid to take on the challenge. It's basically like that. You know how you drive in a vehicle and the vehicle has, you know, a certain limit on it, you know, and the manufacturer puts the limit on the vehicle because they know the vehicle can go to a higher speed, but they don't allow the vehicle to go to that higher speed. That's what a scarcity mindset is. Always putting a limit on yourself, always looking at limitations. Whereas the abundance mindset is, I want more. I'm going to thrive for more. And the way that you want more and the way that you thrive for more and have an abundance mindset is surrounding yourself with others that have the abundance mindset. It's so easy to weed that out. It's the difference between looking at those who fall in line with what they want as depreciation, as opposed to those who fall in line with what they want as opposed to appreciation. What do I mean when I say appreciation and depreciation? Appreciation meaning things that will basically equate or attribute to value in your life, as opposed to things that's just going to suck you dry. That's the difference between the appreciation and the depreciation quantity. And this is what the abundance and the scarcity mindset is all about. Do you want to move forward? Do you want to tick in that right direction, or do you want to take a step backwards and regress? As we're getting older, one of the key things of age is wisdom. But wisdom comes with experience, and it comes with learning things. And if you're not learning things and you're not evolving and you're not gaining wisdom, then you're just basically living life. And I don't know about you guys, but just living life for me has never been enough. You know, when I was a lot younger, I just didn't understand how to tap into the mindset that I have today. You know, tap into that mindset that and the thought process that in the way that I move today. I wish I would have had that mindset a lot younger, but the mindset is there. And maybe I had to go through what I had to go through my life to get to that place to where that mindset had to eventually get where it's at. But everyone has their crossroads, so to speak. Everyone has their proverbial, basically them moving towards the thumb and moving towards the needle in how they are going to figure things out. But the goal is to figure it out. And you have to have that moment in your life where you say, a life-changing moment is when I force myself to take action. Let me say that again. A life-changing moment happens when I force, keyword, operative word, action word, force myself to take action. Number 3, for the number of confirmation, a life-changing moment happens when I force, meaning you have to force yourself to take the action. No one's going to take the action for you. This is why the root word self-preservation is the law of the land comes into play. It's on you. It's incumbent upon you. No one's going to do this for you, especially in this society and this modern day era where we live in a dog-eat-dog society where people are not going to force themselves to do anything. It's incumbent upon you to force yourself, to gird yourself up, and to take yourself to the next level. That's on you, man. It's not on nobody else. So you have to ask yourself that question. Am I a person that has an abundance mindset that I have been basically pushing under the rug because I want to live in the soft, comfortable cocoon of a scarcity mindset? Or am I that person that says, you know what, fuck a scarcity mindset, I want an abundance mindset, and I'm going to jump at the gun of the abundance mindset? That is the difference. And that's the difference in the mentality between one person and the other. And that's why you see the difference between people that live a certain lifestyle and people that don't. People think, oh, they went to a witch doctor, or oh, they into this, they into that. No, it's called drive. It's called basically using their time efficiently and using their time wisely, not engaging in things that's going to depreciate and suck life out of them, but using their time in things that's going to gain them stuff. Because you guys got to think about it. No matter what type of crooner you are, no matter what type of smooth talker you are, no matter how you look, whether you're male or female, it looks fake, man. But think about it. At 65 years old, whether you're male or female, no matter how good you look, the cachet is not going to be about your looks. The cachet is going to be about what can you bring to the table. And people need to understand that. Because let's keep it real. A 65-year-old person doesn't have the same cachet in terms of an age value of someone that's 25 or 35. Because they are on the back end of what's called life. But what do you have? What else have you been able to gain? What else have you been able to add, attribute, finances, resources, business ventures, things of that nature? What else have you also added to your life to where your life is not just revolved around that? So this is why the Life Edition was inspired, so that folks can start thinking on a higher plane and folks can start really tapping to that abundance mindset, which is, in layman's term, their confidence, because everyone has a confidence level. The question is, how do you tap into that confidence level and become the maximum proficiency of that version of your confidence level? This is why it's imperative for everyone in life to have the mentality of being an alpha. Because an alpha is someone who is a cut above the rest. You can be male or female and have an alpha mentality, whether you're an alpha or an alphet, either or. But that's the mentality you got to have. That mentality that you call the shots. The mentality that when you step into the room, you have that aura, that mentality, when you walk and you have this thing about you, people can see that you are not this person that play games. Your time is precious to you. Your time is not to be messed with, but you're going to succeed and you're going to accomplish at the things that you're going to accomplish at. That is the difference between the abundance and the scarcity mindset. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Jacob LONEWOLF?
Yeah, man. No, you answered pretty much everything about, you broke it down about the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset. And, I just feel like, I think you touched on why people have a scarcity mindset. And you said that it's the environment that they grew up in, right? But here's what I'm going to say, right? And I know it may offend some people, but I think school is probably one of the worst forms for me. Like, now, school, obviously, it's good to socialize with people and all of that, but I just feel like schools, they put you in an environment to where they kill creativity, man. Like, they don't allow you to be yourself. There's a reason why when you go to certain high schools, I'm pretty sure in the public schools in America, right? You know how they put tables in lines and it's all in rows, right? You may think that they're just doing that just to make it look neat, but it's a psychological method to that. Like, they're doing that for a reason, because what they do is at an early age. I think I read this right. From when you from the day you're born to like 7 years old, there's like a 7-year window to where they brainwash people, because they know that after the 7 years, it's going to be hard for people to unprogram what they've learned. I think you've heard of this before. It's like it takes 7 years to like actually program people to like think a certain way and all of that. So I feel like when people have the scarcity mindset, it may not be to their fault, because we live in a society where people are constantly trying to control your mind, and I was talking with HeKnows about Carabas before, as we're going to talk, as the live stream goes on. But there was like a power call the other day, that I was on, and the power call is basically it said like is a wealth builders worldwide that was created by Ty Best, and every single day, 7 days a week, they have like something called a power call for 2 hours where they have moderators, like some of the best network marketers in the world, for 2 hours, and they always from the start of the live stream, they always put a pre-call, and the pre-call is basically a motivational video. And in this motivational video, they talk about these things. They talk about why you need to surround yourself with like-minded people, and why you should always challenge yourself. So yeah, that's that's what I was saying before. Is that it's the environment that you grew up in. We live in a society where people, they're around other people that aren't, ambitious or anything like that. And I've been around that too. And for me personally, you're not gonna put me in a box. I'm not a groupie, and I've never succumbed to that group mentality. I've always been about self-preservation. I've always been about always striving to be the best and questioning things, And if you live in a world where if you're not questioning things, if you're just like you just go along to get along, then if you're not that nail that sticks out the most, if you're not that black sheep, then I feel like you don't really know who you are. Because in order to be yourself in this society, it's going to be a conflict of interest. People who are truly themselves, they don't really have a lot of friends. Like, let's just keep it real. Like, people who think a certain way and they question society, it goes against the norm. It goes against the programming. It goes against the status quo. So a lot of the times, even though people have untapped potential and confidence about themselves, they know that if they don't fall in line, or if they go against the norm, they're gonna get ostracized, And I've always had that mentality. I've always felt like I was ostracized. I've always put a chip on my shoulder, and sometimes I always feel like this is my mentality. I feel like the world is against me. Now that might be a bad mentality to certain people, but I feel like it's a good mentality when you're trying to chase your dreams and your goals. Because sometimes, like you saw in The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, you have to, like, he would create, he would literally create stories and things
Exactly.
like with Karl Malone. He said like he was mad at Karl Malone because he won the MVP. He wasn't mad at Karl, but he felt like he should have been the one to win MVP. You've heard stories about MJ where he's literally created stories about people, players trash talking him when they didn't trash talk him, and he went on the court and killed them. We saw this in The Last Dance when I think it was after the '95 season when they got beat by Orlando, and he was filming what's it called? What's that? Bugs. You know what I'm talking about? He knows.
Bugs Bunny?
Yeah, Bugs Bunny. Yeah.
Okay.
And he would invite Reggie Miller, all the other NBA players, right? And they didn't say anything to him, but MJ, like, he visualized them talking shit to him, and he went up there and he was sizing them up, and he was killing them. So I feel like if you don't have that mentality, like the world is against me, and you just have a chip on your shoulder, then it's gonna be a lot harder to like try to go after your dreams. Because I feel like in order to be successful, you have to be crazy. You know, you have to be obsessed. You know, it's like, you know, this is bigger than life. Like, you know, with me, I'd rather be dead than to be alive and to not live my dreams, you know? And that's just my mentality. So I always feel like it's the environment that you're around. And I felt like once I saw He Knows His Sport and, you know, I started seeing his videos, it made me feel more confident by myself. Like, it made me feel like at least I'm not the crazy person here. Like, there's actually like-minded people. And in this world, right, when you hang around people, here's the difference, right? Like, let's just say you can hang out with like-minded people, right? And you guys may not, you know, hang out all the time. But when you do hang out, it's called a power hangout. This is where you brainstorm ideas, you come together, and it's like, you know, you come together and destroy everything. So you're bouncing off ideas off one another. So, like, let's just say you guys may see each other once every 2 months. That one time that you guys meet up every 2 months, that's a power hangout to where you're just coming together and you're basically brainstorming what you want to do. Whereas if you're hanging out with people every day that are not ambitious and that are just zombies and that are vampires that just suck the energy out of you, then you're not getting anything. You're just hanging out with them every single day. And most people in the world, most people that live in this world, they're not really friends. They're buddies. See, a buddy is someone that you go out with on a Friday, Saturday night to get drunk, to talk about small talk, to talk about things that have nothing to do with the grand scheme of things. You know, I don't think most people really understand the true meaning of friendship. Friendship to me is reciprocation. You know, is where you can give and take from someone, and they're doing the same thing to you. You know, reciprocation is basically, it's the medium of, you know, trust and respect. You know, I just feel that that's how it is. You know, you should always reciprocate the energy that someone's giving to you. So I feel like when it comes to that, you know, I feel like people just throw terms loosely. Like, they always throw great friendship. No. Like, these are powerful words. Like, a friend is somebody that you can literally, that's just as like-minded as you, and that you can talk to about anything, and you're always challenging and pushing each other. So that's just my take on that. You know, He Knows.
I'm glad you said that, because we definitely are going to jump into the next topic. It's interesting that you said that because it segues into it. But the bottom line is, and I want to touch on one point on what you said. It's about who you surround yourself around, man. And it's about really just, again, time. Time is something that we can't get back. Once time has elapsed, it is what it is. You know, time will not allow itself to remanifest itself. It is what it is. That's just the way that time has allowed itself to be. And we, as, is that you in the background?
No.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah,
okay.
Can you
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, we as individuals, we as folks in society need to take our time and understand that time is imperative to us, and time is something that can't be wasted. It's very important, because once time is gone, that's it. You can't get it back. So now you have to focus on the next time that you get. That's the thing with time. Once you've lost that period of time, you need to focus on the next time that's afforded and attributed to you. Case in point, the next topic I want to talk about. And I think this goes in relation to what we're dealing with right now in this systematic pandemic issue. Why Black men, especially in times like these, need to arm themselves with an abundance mindset. What's your take on that?
Yeah, now I feel like we're obviously living through tough times. Now, for me, people may say I'm not qualified to speak on this because I don't live in America, but I feel like when it comes to Black people worldwide, we pretty much is similar. No matter where you go to in the world, maybe besides Africa, where the majority of people there are Black and they're not in contact with other nationalities of people, is that there seems to be this common trend or thread. Whereas we know we don't live in a fair world. Life is not fair. I think what sometimes we as Black men think when it comes to racism and all that is that we think that life is this dualistic thing where it's good guy, bad guy, good, evil, but there's always a gray area in life, and you can't just look at things from face value, and say, why things are the way they are. You have to really understand like natural law and like the laws of the universe, like when it comes to race, like when it comes to racism, because we know that throughout history, when you give a certain group of people all the power, what do you think is going to happen? It's also this corruption is going to happen. People will use every advantage to they'll use every advantage to their convenience. So I think what during these times, obviously we obviously saw the unfortunate killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, by that racist cop, and I just feel like during this time, the reason why Black men, we need to have an abundance mindset is because we can't allow the media and all these news outlets to just scare us and just make us feel bad about who we are as people. There's constantly, throughout history, we also know what's the history of the United States. Obviously, the racism, the discrimination that Black people that have gone, like Black people have gone through. But I feel like the reason why we as Black men, we need to have an abundance mindset is because we obviously know we live in a world where, we're targeted the most, unfortunately, with obviously the schools, obviously the killing and the shooting and all of that. And sometimes when it even comes to like, murder, rape, there's this thing in society, I'm pretty sure you've heard of this in the United States, is that throughout history, there's been this thing that Black men were aggressive, particularly when it comes to like white women, we're very aggressive. There's been this thing where, go with me on this one, where white women have gone Black men killed, like obviously during slavery, she would blackmail him and say, hey, if you don't have, if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to say that, you did it anyway. So there's been this thing that there's been this negative stereotype of who Black men are, and I just feel like, it's up to us to, challenge ourselves and to learn history about ourselves, and having the abundance mindset is knowing who you are. Now with me, the reason why I'm comfortable in my own skin is I learn from history. I learn about Africa. I learn about what we've done in the past, the brilliant things that we've done throughout history. Like people don't know that. Why is it whenever you type on Google search slavery, it's always Black people that pop up? And I'm like, huh? Like what? Why are we the face of slavery when there's been other groups of people that have been enslaved throughout history? And the reason why I'm so confident about this is because if you look at what's happened, with Black people in the past, look at the Moorish Empire. If you know anything about the Moors or Moroccans or the North Africans, they ruled and conquered Spain and Portugal for over 781 years. You know, when Europe was going through the Dark Age, you know, the Moors brought Europe. They brought the Golden Age to Europe. You know, they built street lamps. They built public libraries. They built schools. You know, agriculture. All these things. You know, and a lot of people they would never tell you that in school. They would never tell you the history of your ancestors. They would never tell you the history of what the great things black men have done throughout history. The richest man in history was black, Mansa Musa, the Mali Empire, you know, and he was rich because of gold, you know. He was one of the wealthiest person in the world, you know. Mansa Musa was black. So a lot of the times, you know, why having an abundance mindset is so important during times like these is because you're able to weather through the storm, and you're able to see through the foolery, able to see through the manipulation through the media, you know, because, you know, the media is a very powerful tool, you know, because, you know, they can kill an image of the person, like Hitler did, you know. Before he killed the Jews, he had to kill the image of the Jews, you know, because you can't just go out and kill innocent people. What they've done in America, killing unarmed innocent black men, is that the media has tried to make it seem as if they're the ones who are violent and the cops are the ones doing the good thing. Because we through gangs, we obviously see through rap music and a lot of these movies that depict black men in a negative light, that when we get killed, people are gonna be like, huh, he probably deserved it anyway. He probably was out doing, you know, crime and all of that. And that's the power of the media. See, we always talk about the media when it comes to like LeBron and the sports media, but the media when it comes to like the world news, I don't even watch the news, man, because I've come to realize that news is just entertainment. You know, it's secondhand information. It's not. They don't really know. They don't really have the firsthand information. So once I started to know that they've throughout history they've used the news and the media to scare people, I just knew that, nah, man, you know, I'm focused on myself. I know that a lot of these things that they put in the news are made up, you know. They do it to put people in fear. And if you know anything in society, right, the best way to control people is to divide them. It's called divide and conquer. Because the government knows that once the people come together and they unite as one clear fist, they can't do anything. You know, they can't do anything. And listen, this is some real shit. Now, if you know anything about the government, see, when we speak English, a lot of the times there's code words. There's the etymology, you know, and I think I've been learning about this for literally a year and a half. Is I've learned the etymology of words, the origin of words, and I think it's very important for people to really understand why you should really understand the etymology of the words. Notice how I use the word understand. I don't use understand because I feel I'm not standing under anybody. Understand is coming from within, you know. So since I've been able to learn the etymology of the word understand, I'm using the word understand as my vocabulary, you know. So I think etymology is very important, you know, and you know you're able to decipher codes and words. See, because when I'm not quite sure if it was in the Bible, but they said when the world started, it started with the word. See, words are vibrations, words are energy. There's a reason why the tongue is powerful, you know, because you can speak it into existence. So how does this go back to black people? Is that why should black men have an abundance mindset? Is because you obviously know that you live in a world where everyone is trying to take the power from you. Why do they try to, you know, put black men in a negative light? Now, let's just break it down. See, when other people from other groups see black men, they're intimidated. Let's just keep it real, because when they see us, who do they see? They see men that are bigger, faster, stronger. They say that the original man came from Africa. So they obviously know your history. So when people know that, you know, you You just have unlimited potential. Look at the sporting world. It's dominated by black men, you know? We rule sports, with our amazing athleticism, our gifts, and they're intimidated by that, because they know we have unlimited potential. And when you know someone has unlimited potential and you have a scarcity mindset, what do? You try to shame that person. You try to criticize, ostracize that person. You try to put them down. You try to tear them down. And one of the things that I learned from the 48 Laws of Power, this is some cool shit. This is what I learned, is that it's better to be criticized and ostracized than to be ignored. So if you know that they come after black men and we're the most vilified people, in the world, then you obviously you should obviously have the abundance mindset to know, hey, that's a good thing. I should go out there and compete. I should go out there and make life better for myself. If I'm getting criticized, okay, bring it my way, because all you're doing is bringing free publicity. So if they're shaming you, use that to your advantage. So that's why I always say, when all these things that they do that's going on, in the world, particularly to Afro dudes, Afro men, Afro black men, you use that as, hey, okay, now there's a reason why they're coming after me, because they know that I have all these gifts. There's a reason why, because when people know that, you have unlimited potentials, they're intimidated by you. So when you're intimidated by someone, you try to tear them down. You try to put subtle jabs at them. So if you weren't a threat to them, they would never mention your name. So this is why it's very important for black men to have an abundance mindset. And the way you have an abundance mindset is that you know that you are the Osiris of your life. You are the Osiris over everything in your life. I always say this: everything that's happened to me in my life, it's my fault. I'm the one who put myself in that situation. Let's just, even though, let's just say I may have not said anything, or I may not have done anything. If I put myself in that situation or that environment, it's my fault. And I'm the one, I hold myself to a higher standard. I always hold myself accountable and responsible. And I never allow myself to have that victim mentality. I never allow the liberal news media outlet to say, we as black men were getting killed and all that. Yes, maybe we are. But at the same time, I'm not going to pay attention to that, because I know that there's more to life than, that meets the eye. And I know that I'm not going to allow people to shame me and to make me feel sorry about myself, because when you feel sorry about yourself and you have a victim mentality, you're never going to progress. Victims don't get shit done in life. That's the whole unadulterated truth, Sorry, and the best thing, this is what I really understand, is that we're at war right now. We're obviously at war. They're trying to also kill black men in the United States. I've seen it. I've read a lot of articles. I've read people have even said this, that in the year of 2053, do you know that the black wealth is going to be zero? That's what they've said in the United States. Look at the abortion rates that's happening in these so-called black communities, the killings of the unarmed black men. So all these things are happening. Why? Because they know that if you look throughout history, the black people were the original people. We've been here for the longest, and they felt threatened because of our reproduction. How we can be able to reproduce, our semen and all that. There's a reason why. We've been here since the longest, and they know that, so sorry, he knows, I'm going all over the place. So much knowledge. This is the reason why. They know that when they look at black men, why do you think racism exists? Now we may think that racism exists because they're bad, they're evil, they're just mean. No, there's race. The reason why some so-called white people are racist to so-called black people is because it's a survival mechanism. It's survival, because they know that if a black man, is able to eat and be healthy long enough, he'll be able to live long enough. He's able to reproduce more. There's a reason for that. It all goes back to, how much like how much people there is, because they know that we as Black people were the majority worldwide. You know, we're all over the globe. You know, we have the largest diaspora in the world. So since you know all these things and you know why certain things happen, you're able to look at it more from a tactical and warlike perspectives. You know, and during times like these, you need to have a war mentality. And if you've read the 48 Laws of Power and The Art of War by Sun Tzu, it literally goes into detail on why things happen the way they are. Now, when I see all these cops killing, you know, even though it's bad and all of that, I know why they do. I know why they're doing it. You know, and times like this goes to show you why we as Black men, we need to have an abundance mindset, and we always need to constantly learn. You know, and the way we should always have the abundance mindset is know our history, know who we are, and also to practice group economics. You know, now if there's a brother or sister that's creating a product or service, support them. You know, now even if their service or product is not, you know, suitable to you, just make sure just support them and spend money in their business, because what times like these show us that the reason why they're able to kill Black men is because they know that they can, and there's no repercussions. You know, they know they don't have any backing, because they know that if Black people in America were to be economically stronger, they would never do that. You know, we need to have our own police force. We need to have our own military, like the Black Panther. There's a reason why Martin Luther King, MLK, Dr. King said that integration was one of the worst things that he ever did, and he regretted, because he said he put his people in a burning house. You know, now I don't agree with segregation, but I do believe in separation. I believe that even though we can do business with other groups of people, we should always have our own businesses. We should always do things for ourselves and help our fellow people, so things like these don't happen. You know, we should be able to move out. You know, in the United States, you know, you're seeing things like these happen. You know, have an Africa plan. You know, look at the world as your home. You know, if things are not working out in the United States, look at other ways to live abroad. Or, you know, if you feel like you're living in a very dangerous city, create towns, create places where you can live at. You know, look at the things that they did in the 1920s, whereas Black people, they had thriving businesses in New York, Oklahoma, Atlanta, where Black businesses were thriving. Black Wall Street, you know, and if you know the economics, and if you know anything about wars and battles, you're able to prepare for times like these. You know, and I feel like this is why Black men should have an abundance mindset. You know that if you have all these gifts, if you know that you have all these untapped potential, people are always going to constantly try to put you down. So you always have to protect it, and you always have to think bigger, and you always have to think 3-5 moves ahead of the game and know why things are the way they are. And you should always look for things. You should always look for ways to change it. So, you know, I have more things to say, but, you know, I want to hear from HeKnows. So I went on a rant, man. Like, Mike. HeKnows, you're muted. Yeah.
Yeah, and going on that rant, I was going to go ahead and give my own assessment, but I said you touched on so many points that I just said, you know what, I have to retouch the points that you touched on, because I had something completely I was going to talk about. But that's how it is. When someone's in that zone and they're locked in and they're saying all of the things that basically are touching on the thumb and on the needle of the situation, then you have to retouch the thumb and retouch the needle. Here's the thing. I'm going to break it down in 4 segments. The first one is the power of the media. The media has been around, and the media has influenced people from eons and generations. In the modern day, the media has become the most powerful sector of an economy. In the old times, the media was done through, you know, armies. It was done through force, because they didn't have television screens. They didn't have the ability to have technology as savvy as it is now for them to affect you from a social media standpoint. So they did it physically. They did it face to face. They did it in person. But here's the thing with the media. The media is the most powerful sector of an economy. It is a tool to maintain a balanced society, which is characterized by well-informed people, effective democracy, and social justice. In fact, the media has unparalleled influence on all aspects of human life in modern times. I'm going to read that last part again, because that one needs to marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. So hear me. Well, in fact, the media has unparalleled influence on all aspects of human life in modern times. This is why I tell people to adopt the 4-minute and 59-second rule, because the media has that ability to affect what's called neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro-linguistic programming is the psychology of being able to affect one's own subconscious and the subconscious of others. We've seen this in the sports realm. We've seen this in, politics. We've seen this in economics. We've seen this on so many forms, so many variations, and so many facets. In order for them to delude you with the garbage and the rubbish that they're going to delude you with, they have to delude themselves with that garbage and that rubbish first. Because how are you going to believe in something how are you going to tell people stuff that you yourself are not even willing to believe yourself into it? Because you know why you need to believe in it? Because when you believe in it, then you're going to be passionate about it. And if you're going to be passionate about it, there's going to be an unmitigated goal, and there's going to be a relentlessness for you to continue to push it. Salute to you, Lewis Sports Network. There's going to be that relentlessness for you to push it. And that's the bottom line behind that. So we have to understand the power of the media as it pertains to Black men and Black men in this society. You hit on a lot of terms, a lot of key phrases, the Moors Empire, how they dominated the way that they did. We also have to look at us as Africans, man. We have to consider the aspect of maybe repatriating or repatriation. Now, I know to some people that's a very controversial term, and to some people that's a very, wow, why did HeKnows say that? Yes, what is repatriation? Repatriation is the return of someone to their own country, the sending of basically allowing somebody back to their own country. Repatriation is the process of returning an asset, an item, or symbolic value or person voluntarily or forcefully to its owner or their place or origin or citizenship. Now, to some people, if repatriation is not an option, then you need to consider what he talked about, this brother, group economics within your own environment. If you live in New York, you live in Texas, you live in anywhere else, if just the idea of you returning back to the motherland, you returning back to Africa is an issue for you, then you need to start practicing group economics amongst yourselves as Black individuals. These are the action-based things that are going to allow us to get to the next level, especially as Black men. We have been taught as a society, and it goes back to what you talked about, because it makes me think of that movie Blood and Bone, when that man told, Bone, well, not Bone, but he told the guy that was trying to get Bone into that tournament where he was trying to basically feel that he was arrived. Basically, he was in the white man's tournament. And the white guy told him, you can never be in a tournament of ours. And then he asked him why, because he said, does a master allow for a dog to eat at his dinner table? And when he said that, I was like, man, I want to hear more of what he got to say. What does he mean by that? Basically, he started saying that us white men, us, squiggly, wrinkled up white men, we marvel at you Black men and your displays, your physicality to entertain us. We marvel at your ability to make us feel good. But we don't want you guys to be at the plate with us. We want you guys to serve us. And there's a reason for that, because it goes back to what you talked about when you talked about the Black man and talked about the power of the Black man and how the Black man is so influential and how they are so scrutinized and how they are such a polarizing figure. Black men are a polarizing figure to their own society. They're polarizing to Black women. They're polarizing to white women. They're polarizing to white men. They're polarizing in general. And you know why they're polarizing? Now, some of it is self-inflicted, but for the most part, it's because of the dichotomy of being a Black man and the strength that's associated with that. We just don't understand the strength that's associated behind us as Black individuals. There's power with us. Why would you want to enslave something if it wasn't powerful? Let me say that again. Why would you want to enslave something if there wasn't power behind it? And if you do your homework and you do your research in slavery, we've enslaved ourselves too. But that's another topic here nor there. That's another life edition for us to talk about. And we can go on and on about that, because slavery is not just something that just happened internally. I mean, externally. Obviously, there was internal forces behind it that caused it to take place and manifest the way it did. It manifested as of today. But that's another conversation for another time in another place. But it's about group economics. And we have to ask ourselves, as Black individuals, are we galvanizing? Are we having a mindset of community? We have been taught through over 500 plus years, through Jim Crow laws, through, us being beat down. When you think of, the proverbial Kunta Kinte, all the way down to this lineage, seeing people basically leave the point of no return. You're from Sudan, you understand this. Those that are in the western and the northern part of Africa, there's a lot of these Africans that make up Haiti, that make up Dominican Republic, that make up the United States. They've come from these regions. There have been plenty of no points of return. And this is who they are today. Folks that have lost their identity. They don't know who they are. They don't even know their original lineage African name. They don't know none of this stuff. But here we are today. Look at what's going on. We come into a foreign land. And in this foreign land, we've been told that we are supposed to adopt, their lifestyle. We're supposed to adopt the way that they think, the way that they do things. We've been brainwashed, folks. And you've heard me say this in videos, brain full of mush and brainwashed dodo heads. This is what we've become. We've become dodo heads. The question is, how do we attack this? And all I've been hearing over the years is conversation. This is the problem. This is the fundamental problem. This is how you keep a certain group, a certain people down. You basically get them to get into what's called conversation. Let's talk about it. Well, where has talking about it gotten us? How about let's get into action-based principles? How about we put some action behind it? And in putting action behind it, it's called group economics. And I would want for people to read this book. It's by Gwen Richardson. It's called Why African Americans Can't Get Ahead and How We Can Solve It with Group Economics. Very powerful book. That's why I was interested when you mentioned the term group economics. And it shows you guys how every other culture and every other race have been together. They have a together mentality, whether they're from a Hispanic culture, whether it's, white folks, whether it's, Asian folks. They have a togetherness. They may not, don't get it twisted. They can't stand each other from beanstalk to beanstalk. Jack is not sitting there and befriending Jim. But if Jack and Jim got to get along to put down Rodney, then they're going to do that. That's just the way it is. That's just the way they slice and dice it. They'll cut each other's head off. We've seen this before, because when a child becomes of a certain age, and they get that will, they let the parent die in that retirement home, as if the parent wasn't even their parent, as if the parent didn't even conceive them. We've seen this before. We've seen this in its most visceral form. So they're cutthroat with each other. But when it comes time for them to do business, and it comes time for them to have affairs, and it comes time to them to engage, they know how to put their differences aside, and they know how to have what's called unison and unity. We've been stripped of that. But in all of this time that we've been having conversations, where has this conversation come about? Group economics. And those who have brought that up, they've been shunned. Because here's the underlying truth, and here's the underlying cold-hearted, unadulterated cutthroat. Black people are afraid of Black people. We have to call it the way we see it. This is why you see Black people are not even willing to stay in their own communities, and they uproot out. I'm not saying all of them are like that, but there's a lot of them, in order for me to feel that I've arrived, I have to go live in a community that looks nothing like me. That's a slavery mindset. Because do these other communities, these other folks, these other groups, do they do this stuff? No. They stay amongst themselves. And again, I'm not advocating for segregation, or I'm not advocating for, it to just be us. What I'm advocating for is for us to understand the power of group economics and the power of us being able to have what's called the abundance mindset. This is what the abundance mindset is all about. Us investing into ourselves and not being afraid of us. And that's as simple as us taking the action to say, you know what, let me, you know what I'm saying, go down the street, let me get to know this person. If it was somebody that you was cool with, or you just stop, you know, having conversations with them, maybe you need to restart that conversational piece. Get to know the person, you know, go through your analytical process of seeing if that person is going to mesh with you. But in doing that, be open. Don't be closed-minded. Don't be so judgmental to say, well, because they are this way and because I'm that way. It's too much nonsense that's involved with us, whether the person is dark, whether the person is light. I mean, it's just so much ridiculous foolery that's associated with us. It's not even funny. We're all in a position where we're considered by mankind in the United States as the bottom feeders. So we're all in that position. And when we all come to that conclusion that we're all in that same position, then we all need to start looking at each other left and right and say, you know what? Let's practice group economics. And what is group economics? Investing in each other. I see too many people of power that look like us. They go back and take the money back into the outside instead of investing it here with us. There should be a BNBA, a Black National Basketball Association, not just an NBA. There should be a, not a Grammy, but a Black version of that, whatever you want to call it. But we're so caught up in symbolism. And that's what is the number one thing that is the biggest detrimenter in the Black community, more so than anything else: symbolism. We always want to symbol ourselves with stuff. We always want to look cool. We always want to be dancing. We always want to be strutting. We always want to, you know, have the flyest gear. We always want to look the best. But where does that get you? That gets you nowhere. There's no forward progression. There's no upward mobility. So you're doing all of that because you want to be the coolest person in the room, but yet you live in paycheck to paycheck. Yet, you know, you can't pay your rent. Yet you have other issues that's going on, but this other person has residual income. This other person has other things going on for them, and they don't care about being the coolest person in the room. So we have our mentality backwards. Now, we've been oppressed, we've been pushed down, we've been downtrodden. So we have to factor that in, and there's a level of sympathy that's associated with that. But that does not give us the full license to keep ourselves down in a scarcity mindset. And we have to tell ourselves eventually through an abundance mindset that, you know what, we got to be willing to turn this thing around. We got to be willing to turn this bad boy around, because this can't just be the end all and be all for us. It has to be bigger than this. And this is where the abundance mindset comes into play. Because it's a mindset of saying that regardless of my circumstances, regardless of my situation, regardless where I'm at, I'm going to push myself to get to the next level. And I'm going to do this with people that look like myself. We've been so divided for so long. We've been so separated and segregated from one another for so long that we need this unification. We need to learn how to say, you know what, let me put my guards down. Let me have some faith, because that's what it's going to require to see how I can repatriate in my mind with my brethren. Because that's where it starts. The battle is in the mind. And once you can get past that and you can basically take those limiters or those barriers off, this is where the assimilation comes back. This is where it comes back to us saying, you know what, we can figure something else out. Because the bottom line is, in this country, they look at you as less than a human being. And that's just the facts. If you're a Black individual, whether male or female, they look at you like you're lesser than. And this is why we always have to be given that talk as we grow up, that we have to work 3 times as hard. We have to push ourselves. We have to do this. We have to do that. Be careful. Don't go out here and do this. We have to be given that talk. And it's a conversation that we really shouldn't have to have. But what we need to understand is we're in a foreign land, a land that wasn't even meant for us, a land that wasn't even meant for us to be in. It's foreign. But if we're going to be in this foreign place, then we're going to have to figure out how to implement group economics, how to be able to work with one another instead of tearing each other down. I'm sick and tired of this nonsense about let's have a conversation. And when we have this conversation, it's all the same bullshit rhetoric. But no one comes to the conclusion of saying, okay, this is how we're going to make it happen, and then give a plan. What happened to the plan? You know, like a business plan, where's the plan to say X, Y, and Z, this is how it's going to take place. And come hella high water, we're going to get it done. That's what the abundance mindset is about. Getting that shit done, come hella high water, and it doesn't fucking matter. This is where we are going to have to get back to. This is the mentality that we're going to have, because we did have that mentality, believe it or not, in the 60s. If you do your research, there were small black businesses. You know, blacks were communing with one another. But did it take because we had to be segregated? Did it take because we had to be colored people for us to have to do that? Why does extreme measures cause us to have to think that way when in normal instances where it's not as extreme, but it is kind of extreme, we can still have the ability to do that? So this is the underlying and undercurrent thing here that we as individuals have to start telling ourselves. We have to hold ourselves accountable. And we have to get to a place to where we say, you know what? Group economics is where it's at. And that's what it should be. Nothing else. I don't want to hear conversation. I don't want to hear let's talk about it. Group fucking economics, man. This is where it's at. We're going to have to be willing to work with one another. And we're going to have to be willing to have the faith to work with one another. Put all that bullshit aside. Just because a person looks a certain way, they're your brother, they're your sister. And if you don't trust them, who the fuck are you going to trust? And that's the underlying truths behind this. Group economics. And this is why I'm imploring people, again, to read that book by Gwen Richardson. Reading is fundamental. Knowledge is power. The book is called Why African Americans Can't Get Ahead and How You Can Solve It with Group Economics. Group economics is interesting because it teaches us the ability on how we can basically put our heads together, because there is truth in that proverbial old saying that two heads are better than one. Put our heads together and come to an underlying truth on how we can grow. This is why you see me, even at my small level, I work with brothers. The Jacob LONEWOLF, that's a Sudanese brother right there. Tom Ross, that's a brother right there. Lewis Sports Network, that's a brother right there. Richie Rich, that's a brother right there. I work with brothers because I believe in my own. The question is, do you guys believe in your own? And I've worked with sisters before in the past because I believe in my own. I believe in group economics. This is how we're going to get far. This is how we're going to basically position ourselves. Because if we're not doing it, then who the fuck is going to do it for us? You know, sometimes drastic measures calls for drastic speech. And you guys have not seen He Knows the Sport in this form because I'm always talking about sports and things of that nature. But when it comes to life, these are the things that I'm the most passionate about. And when you guys see me talk in sports, sometimes you can see some of this type of stuff comes out. But in drastic times, it calls for drastic measures. And those that were thinking about repatriation, yes, plot. There's such a thing called plot, plan, and strategize. True alphas and true alphas and alphets do this stuff on a daily. They plot, plan, and strategize. If you're looking to move back to the motherland, plot how you're going to do it, plan how you're going to do it, strategize it, and get your ass over there and fucking do it. It's that simple. And if you're not going to repatriate, but you're going to stay here in this country, then you're going to have to figure out some group economics, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to take yourself to the next level, or at least be able to live in this cesspool of you being considered lesser than by others. Because if you have unification, you have unity, there's power in that. And you guys have to understand that. Conquer and divide was the scheme of the game. It's so that we can look at each other today for 500 plus years and tell each other, I can't stand this person because they look like this. I can't stand that person because they look like that. I can't stand people in general that look like us because we just hate us. But all we want to do is get caught up in symbolism. Who got the biggest fucking butt? Who got the biggest butt injection? Who got the nicest hair? That's symbolism bullshit, man. That doesn't get us nowhere. What gets us somewhere is who is able to buy that land? Who is able to have resources that they can pass down to the next generation? This is what the abundance mindset is all about. How can we use crowdfunding? How can we tell 100 people, Black people can do this? See, I'm giving you guys action-based stuff. Hopefully y'all getting the notepads out and getting to the damn scribbling. How can we take 100 people and get together and say we all are going to invest $100 each or $1,000 each? We can do this because I've seen us spend $1,000. I've seen people spend $1,000 on a hairdo. I've seen this before. So if that can happen, you can take $1,000 and put it on a property. You can put it on land. I've seen this. I've seen people spend $600 on shoes. That same $600 can go into something that can be a benefactor for your next generation. See, it's really about taking a enslaved mindset and turning it into what we call a powerful mindset, an abundant mindset. And this is something that can happen instantaneous. It's all on you as the person and what you're willing to accept. And are you telling yourself enough is enough? And am I going to separate myself from those that are not trying to move forward and get myself around those that are really trying to push forward? Because that's what it's going to take sometimes. Sometimes it's going to have to take for you to have to get out of your circumstances, your environment, your situation, repatriate to an environment or a circumstance that's going to be beneficial to your mindset, and then be able to come back and bring back something of value to the table. And when I say repair, I'm not saying go somewhere where it's foreign. I'm talking about go somewhere where it's people that's just like you, because there's people that's just like us that's out here making shit happen. The question is, are you lining yourself up with these folks? I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of the nonsense. I'm tired of the rhetoric, because that's all I'm seeing, people running their fucking mouths. And we're so caught up into this mental bondage and this mental slavery on how we think things should be, when really the answers have been staring us in the fucking face the whole time. This is why it goes back to what I was saying. A life-changing moment happens when you force yourself to take action. It has to be incumbent upon you. You have to force yourself. You have to be willing to make that change. You have to tell yourself in the most visceral, cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-telling fashion that I have to look at myself in the mirror and I have to tell myself that, you know what? I need to fucking change mentally, physically, emotionally, intimately, spiritually. I need to fucking change. But that's going to be individual work within yourself. And once you get to that place where you have done that individual work, now you can get into the group work of group economics. Because now you won't be afraid, because guess what? Now your mindset has taken off those mental bondages, right? And your mindset is now free to think and to be a open-minded thinker and to say that I'm going to push myself to the next level. So, but it's on you. Not this nonsense about conversation. Conversation don't get nobody nowhere. We've been running conversations for all this time. I mean, where are we going with this? So really it boils down to action-based principles of group economics and us as Black people willing to say, you know what, we're going to step this thing out on faith and we're going to start investing in one another. Because trust and believe, once that happens, now that's when you're going to see the fear from others outside of that sector come after you. Because they're going to be like, oh shit, they're galvanizing. Oh shit, they're unifying. That's the scariest thing on the planet, for us to galvanize and unify, because anyone knows and they feel the power of it that through that unification, there's going to be change, and it's going to be drastic, and it's going to happen. Can't be putting your hands out expecting handouts, man. You have the ability in your own life to figure this out at any level, even at a level where you don't think you're making that much. It's called putting something away. It's called talking to people, having faith, being willing to invest in your own, and say that, you know what, we're going to do this. This is what it's going to take. These other ethnic groups, this is what they do. They cut each other's heads off, but they find some way to have at least some decency of faith for them to work together. This is how they're able to make transactions. This is how they're able to move. So we're going to have to be willing to do that. And working with somebody don't mean you have to like them. Now, we would prefer that you would love your brethren and your sister and love them and things of that nature, but you don't have to get shit done. Because there's no emotions and feelings when it comes to business. But this is not a business here. This is about a brothers and sisters coming together and trying to figure themselves out and reclassify their own identities. We can do this. We haven't been given a spirit of fear, man. We've been given a spirit of power, love, and of a sound mind, man. And if we've been given this as human beings, we can do this. We just have to tell ourselves that we're willing to do it. And that's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
All right, so let's jump on to the next topic, man. What is purpose to you, man? What does that look like?
Purpose to me, man, is, in a nutshell, purpose is an intangible asset. Like, it's something that it's your life calling. It's your mission. Like, there's something that you live for in this life, you know. Now whether that be for, I don't know what that is for everybody. You know, everyone has different purposes on why they feel like they're here. But I feel like a purpose it's something that's intangible that you know that you see, like it's something that you live for. It's a reason why you're here. You know, for me personally, I feel like my purpose in life is to I feel like I want to make a change. You know, I definitely, with me, I definitely want to help people in my community that look exactly like me, from the South Sudanese community where I'm from. You know, and I definitely, you know, see, you know, back in my home country, you know, I wasn't born there. I was born in Melbourne, but my parents are from there. That, you know, I definitely feel like my purpose in life is to help people that look like me, and just to, you know, create more opportunities for young Black men and young Black women, because I know that, you know, when you live in a society in the West, right, you're deprived of certain opportunities. Now, this is not me complaining. This is facts. There's external forces out there that no matter how much you try, you know, no matter if you have that 4-year university college degree, you know, you have all the accolades, you know, someone cannot hire you because of nepotism, politics, you're not in the right cliques, you know, you don't know the right person, you know. So there's all these barriers, and that's one of the things that I feel like my purpose in life is. I want to teach, you know, when I do reach of age, you know, because I'm still learning, so because I haven't reached that place where I want to be yet, is that I want to teach people in life that life is not a dualistic reality. It's not a bad guy, good guy thing. Life, there's always a gray area. Now, a gray area is something that it's not face value. You can't just look at something from face value. You can't take everything as if it's, you know, correct. You always have to look at why things are the way they are, you know. And that's why with me, my purpose in life is something that you strive to become every single day. It's something that you want to be, you know, whether you want to create change, you know. And that's with me. I'm the biggest proponent of traveling the world. I feel like when they talk about all these, oh, I'm from this country, I'm from that country, I'm like, the world is my country, man. The world is my library. You know, like I'm a citizen of the whole world. I should be going out and visiting different places. You know, I want to visit the seven wonders of the world. You know,
Mhm.
I want to go to Egypt and learn about the pharaohs. You know, all these things because I feel like I'm on a mission for a knowledge quest. You know,
Mhm.
I feel like there's a lot of information that I don't know. You
Mhm.
know, I don't know if you know this, he knows, but I think the Greeks and the Africans they came up with the philosophy of know thyself. Know thyself. Knowledge comes from within. Education comes from within. You know,
Yep.
so pretty much all the things that we want to know, we already have the answers to. It's just sometimes it feels good to get it from another person's point of view and to bounce ideas off someone else. But
Mhm.
education truly comes from within. You know, and I don't believe that school is that's what like once you um graduate from school, I feel like that's when the real education begins because I feel like living life is much is there's more education in living life than to be confined into a school system to where you have curriculums and they create all these subjects for you to learn about. I feel like the real education begins once you start going out in the real world and you start experiencing different things. And I feel like traveling is one of the biggest proponents. You know, I'm pretty sure you travel to many places and you can attest to this is that when you travel to different places, you see other societies, you see how they operate, whereas, you've lived a certain way your whole life and you've been confined to a certain environment. When you're able to see how people live in other countries and how they operate, you're like, okay, maybe I like this way better. Like they always say, there's three sides to a coin. There's also the two sides, and there's the heads, there's the tail, and then there's obviously the edge. So
Mhm.
you always want to look at life from you always want to have a broader perspective and you want to always look at things from multiple different angles to see why things operate the way they are. So that's why I always feel like having a purpose allows you to see these things because
Mhm.
you need to see these things in order to become successful. The successful people don't just become successful overnight. The wealthy people don't just become wealthy overnight. It's a process, and one of the things that I notice about people is that how physically uneducated we are. We don't know what real money is. Now, to me, what real money is or wealth is not currency. Fiat currency is not money. I'm going to touch on this as the live stream goes on, but what's money to me? Wealth is to me is resources, minerals, food, water. He knows the average person doesn't know how to hunt. The average person doesn't know how to grow food. Times like this, obviously with the coronavirus, you know how the government says they shut down, a lot of these businesses and people can't travel. I'm like, okay, what happens if maybe, hey, one of the big food in like the food supermarkets, they say, hey, we found poison in these foods. We can't sell you food. Then what happens? We've been told in the West we have it good. But I guarantee you, people in Africa, they know how to grow food because they know that if they don't hunt or if they don't kill an animal, they're not going to eat. So they have a warrior-like mentality to where they have self-preservation and they're independent. And I feel like living in the West, a lot of times when you're dependent on these big governments and like a lot of these food industries, you're at their mercy. You should always have something. You should always know how to grow food. You should always know how to hunt. You should always have knowledge. This is
Mhm.
up to you. And I've just had an epiphany. I'm like, well, this coronavirus, what happens if they shut down? Like we can't buy food no more. What then? What, man? Like that's crazy to me. So I feel like my purpose in life is that I want to be as independent as possible. That's me. Having purpose is knowing what you want, going after it.
Sorry, man.
And uh, yeah, going after knowing what you want, and going after it, and you're not going to stop until you get it. And it's about just knowing your life's missions. is visualizing what you want, and it's visualizing that, you're at that place already. It's visualizing, hey, instead of saying, hey, I want to be a millionaire, say, I'm a millionaire in my mind. I'm a millionaire in life. I may not have the resources, but I have the millionaire mentality, and that's what's going to propel me to be a millionaire. You can't be a millionaire having a 5-cent mentality. Come on
Mm-hmm.
now. So that's just, having a purpose is just basically, it's the intangibles and the tangibles in life that make you want to live life even more. You should always, I think there's a saying, I'm trying to phrase it right. You should always work to live. You should not work until you die.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my phrase, on why you should always, and it goes back to having an abundance mindset, is that the
Mm-hmm.
abundance mindset gives you purpose in life. It gives you a reason to live. You wake up every single day, not by the alarm clock on your phone, but by your purpose. Your purpose, your passion wakes you up, man. That's the reason why I'm
Exactly.
awake. And Eric Thomas says, you ain't gotta get ready if you stay ready.
Oh,
So, say something off that, man. Spin off, man.
it's interesting you said that because I could piggyback off of that. That mentor Eric Thomas also says, at this level, you ain't practicing no more. You either got it or you don't. Let me say it again. At this level, you ain't practicing no more. You either got it or you don't. That's what purpose is about, man. And I'm gonna explain to you guys the definition because I like to give the definition on stuff. I'm a very dictionary, vocabulary oriented person. Anyone that knows me knows that. Purpose is an intention. Our intention creates our reality. That was said by Wayne Dyer. I'm going to say it again. Our intention creates our reality, which was said by Wayne Dyer. Purpose. In the noun form of purpose, the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. The verb form of it, have as one's intention or objective. God has allowed suffering, even purposed it. So, purpose is something that is a godly thing that has been given to us. And since we are his creation, we have been given the ability to have purpose. And people need to understand that purpose is something that drives us. Purpose is something that pushes us. Purpose is something that excels us to the next level. Every day that you wake up, you should have something that drives you. You should have something that you're passionate about. You should have something that pushes you. And I've been fortunate enough to have people be inspired by me through my journey on YouTube, and they've have their own purpose based on my purpose mindset, and they've been able to create their own thing. And I'm humbled by that, and I'm appreciative of that. And that speaks volumes to the level of consistency, authenticity, and dedication that I put in my own purpose. But I'm not saying that to talk about me. I'm saying that to really more so talk about the fact that that's who I am and that's my makeup. But that's what I would want for you guys. That's what I would want for you guys to have in your makeup, to have something that you're passionate about, something that pushes you. I'm seeing this with Jacob LONEWOLF, him having his YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Finding yourself in this big world. Lewis Sports Network, where he's come from, him having his channel, Lewis Sports Network. It's interesting how these brothers, along with Tom Ross, another brother of mine, have pushed themselves and said that, you know what, we're not just going to be about the lamest terms of a situation. What's up, Tom Ross? I'm glad you're in the building. We're going to be about something that's bigger than what we are. This is what purpose is about, man. Engineering yourself and pushing yourself to a level to where you can't push yourself no more, man. Purpose is something that should be the number one thing that you have in life. Before you have anything else, you have purpose. And see, this now speaks to the abundance mindset. It speaks to the scarcity mindset. It speaks to the differential between being an alpha and a beta. Alphas have purpose. Alphas are driven by purpose, because when you're driven by purpose, nothing else in life you should care about. Not women, not cars, not any of that stuff. not even money. And then people are like, what? Money? Yes. Because when you have purpose, all of this stuff is going to come to you. You don't have to be obsessed with these things. You have to be obsessed with your purpose. And your purpose is basically something that you're passionate about, something that you feel that you have the quality, prerequisite, and skill set in doing. Something that you know that when you get up, when it's all said and done, if you can push everything else to the wayside, this is what you want to do. That is fucking purpose. And that should be your driving force. Because when you have your purpose, everything else shall be added unto you. Let me say it again. When you have your purpose, everything else shall be added unto you. Your purpose pushes you. Your purpose directs you. Your purpose gives you the ability to not have this dependency on others. You won't, if you're a man, you won't have dependency on a woman. If you're a woman, you won't have dependency on a man when you have purpose. Let me tell you guys something. And I'm speaking to the brothers here. I don't know if sisters are listening, but if they listen, they probably gonna be laughing and be like, damn, he telling all the damn truth. But I'm gonna tell the brothers here. I don't care how good you look as a brother. You're not gonna outlook a woman. Women were created to be fairer creatures. A woman could be a 7, you can be a 10, but that woman will have more DMs than you. That's just the way it rolls. Because physically, they were meant, through their physicality, they were meant for them to be able to pull what they're able to pull. And by that distinction, they have automatically an abundance mindset because they already have something that's drawing that is basically of an asset for them to basically say yay or nay. But as men, what we have that keeps us there and that really takes us over the top is our purpose. Look at Jay-Z and look at Beyonce. Jay-Z's able to get Beyonce because Jay-Z got purpose. The motherfucker got drive. He told you in a rap song, I'm a hustler, baby. I sell water to a well. Y'all didn't catch that, man. He said, I'm a hustler, baby. I sell water to a well. How can you sell water to a fucking well that's already in the ocean? Do y'all understand the level of gall and the level of audacity and the level of just pure alphaness you gotta have to tell a well, look at a well dead in the damn face and say, look here, motherfucker, you are borrowing water from me. You gotta buy that shit from me. That's what purpose is. The ability to stare the monster in the face and tell that monster, look, you ain't nothing but nothing. I'm the bully over here. I run this shit. That's what purpose is. It's a superiority complex. It's supposed to be that mindset that, you know what, I'm going to dominate. I'm going to take over, and I'm going to do whatever I do. I'm going to be the best at it. That's what purpose is all about. Driving yourself, pushing yourself. Don't matter how long it takes, but just saying to yourself, I'm going to keep doing this. And when you find that, whatever that is, whether it's singing, whether it's personal training, whether if it's selling carrot bars, whether if it's, writing books, whether if it's having a platform, a YouTube channel, whatever that purpose is, you ride that motherfucker until you can't ride it anymore. And this is what you need to be doing with your purpose, always recreating yourself. Because those who have purpose are always willing to do that, always willing to change it up, always willing to push themselves to the next level. Because it's not about how long it takes. See, everyone wants to sprint, right? The sprint is saturated, but the marathon is not. I'm going to say it again. The sprint is saturated, but the marathon is not. The beauty is in the journey, man. You have to fail a lot, but you only need one time to succeed. And if your purpose can drive you into that one time of succession, you're going to get there, man. Because there's going to be something that you're going to figure out. The light bulb is going to click and you're going to say, you know what? That's for me. And once you figure that out, that's what you walk in. That's what you gird yourself up in. And that's what you follow through with. That's your purpose, man. Your purpose inspires you. Your purpose drives you. Your purpose gives you a life, and it gives you a lifeline. Through your purpose alone, you are an alpha. If you're walking in that damn purpose. I'm going to say it again. Through your purpose alone, You are an alpha if you're walking in that damn purpose. But if you're that person that's just sitting down, lollygagging, bullshitting, letting time go by, just being a person of dependency, depending on others, then you're not going to get far. Because let me tell y'all something. The most powerful people, the most successful people, the people that employ purpose in their lives are people that don't care to be by themselves. That's what the abundance mindset is. If you can't enjoy your own company, you don't have the abundance mindset. You have a scarcity mindset. You always got to be around people. You always got to be the life of the party. That's a scarcity mindset, because you know why? You're always looking for affirmation from others. You need others to gravitate towards you. We've seen this in the form of sports when we look at LeBron James. He has a scarcity mindset on the basketball court because his affirmation is by groups of numbers. He can't do it himself. And when I say do it himself, I'm not talking about going out there and winning it himself, because you need a team for basketball. I'm talking about being the guy, the unquestionable guy. When pressure arises for him to deliver the goods, he can't, because the scarcity mindset is there. There's no purpose there. Purpose allows for you to not be afraid. Look at a Kobe Bryant. See, I'm giving you a basketball example here. When he took 4 air balls with the Utah Jazz, did you? Look at him. He walked off the court like, I don't give a fuck. And I'll probably take another 4 of those. That's what purpose is all about, man. Not caring about the outcome, but getting the job done. Because let me tell you guys something. Your heart, you could be doing the wrong things, but if your heart is in the right place, then it's going to get done. And that's what it was with Kobe. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, taking those shots. But guess what? His heart was in the right place. And look at the basketball player he's become. This is the differential between somebody that has purpose in terms of the basketball court and somebody that doesn't. And this is how you could equate that to life. In life, purpose is not about, oh, I like to do this, or I'm passionate about this and I just want to do this. There's a lot of people that have gifts and things, but they let it get pushed to the wayside because they have those around them that tell them that you shouldn't be doing this. Because if you do it, then what's going to happen is, in you doing it is going to basically, be a waste of time. When you are purpose driven, you get rid of people like that around you. You know why I say that? Because they don't see the mission. They don't see where you're going. And if you got to step away from them, you do what you got to do, because purpose is about getting the job done, come hell or fucking high water. That's what it's about. And there's no two ways around that. This is the separation that separates the alpha male to the beta male, the alpha female to the beta female. Getting the job done, action based, not speaking about it, just doing it. And that's what purpose is. That's the definition of purpose. Walking in it each and every single day, no matter what it is, and putting time into it. You don't need to put 24 hours into your purpose. Some days you may even put 30 minutes in your purpose. Some days you put 8 hours in your purpose. But every day, put time into your purpose. Because again, time is something that you can't get back. Once you've lost it, that's it. There's no coming back from that. So while you have the time to do what you need to do, it's imperative that you unction in what's called purpose. Purpose is the most important thing on the planet. God put you on this planet to be purposeful. Heck, procreation is a purpose. When you think of procreation, having legacies, having generation after generation, that's a purpose. We've been created as purposeful beings. So if that's the case, then purpose has to be our driving force. It has to be our lifeline above anything else. Purpose has to be put in front of your wife. It has to be put in front of your parents. It has to be put in front of any and every fucking thing. Because when all of that is done with, right? Because people get divorces, people die, people, things happen. What are you left with? See, people are so dependent and caught up on others that they lose sight and they lose track of who they should be. And they lose sight and they lose track of themselves. Because this is what the art of purpose, being able to be comfortable in your own skin. And a lot of people can't face their own selves. But whether, believe it or not, this is an underlying facts. A lot of people can't face themselves. Yours truly, John, appreciate that. And I hope a whole lot of people do that. They go back and study this podcast because there is a lot of gems that's being dropped here. We ramping it up, man. This is the life edition. Tom Ross, you already know. You're going to have your ass on one of these lives. So Lewis Sports Network, you're going to have your ass on one of these lives. Y'all already know I'm going to be reaching out. But today is Jacob LONEWOLF. The bottom line is this. Purpose has to drive you, man. It has to be an underlining thing that pushes you to a level to where you can't be pushed no more. Because if you don't have that, what the fuck do you have? Because that's the problem with a lot of people on this planet, male or female. They make other people their idolatry, their idols. You know, they believe in idolatry. They believe in dependency. Purpose is such the opposite of dependency. It's not even funny. Purpose is about independence, man. It's about you. It's about self-preservation as the law of the land. It's about your self-worth. Because if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of others? Your health is your number one wealth. But when people say these terms, they just say it in such a very, lethargic or very just relaxed way and not understanding the totality or the finality behind the verbiage of these words. Because these words have power. When we tell ourselves our health is our number one wealth, we're saying this from the sense of our health. It's not just physical, our mental well-being, our holistic well-being, our emotional well-being. That all of these things encompass the human being. We are comprehensive beings. So we need to make sure we're healthy in ourselves, in our comprehensiveness. But in order for that to happen, that comes through your purpose. Because when you are on your purpose, you are getting shit done. That's the difference between somebody getting stuff done and somebody is just wasting time and wasting space. Have you guys seen people that are in their 60s and 70s and you ask yourselves, damn, man, why is this person still doing the same cockamamie shit they was doing in their 20s? You know why? Because they just went through life. There was no purpose behind that. Because when you have a purpose, you're evolving. There's an evolution. There's a graduation. There's basically a dedication. And there's a push. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm obsessed with succession. This is what drives me more than any fucking thing else, man. I'm obsessed with that motherfucker. We all have an obsession in life. The question is your obsession going to be of depreciation or is your obsession going to be of acceleration? Let me say it again. Is your obsession going to be of depreciation or is your obsession going to be of acceleration? These are the underlying undercurrent truths that you have to ask yourself. This is basically a proverbial gut check. I love this thing because this is the one that I love the most because it's the most visceral and the most ugly way to be able to denote yourself. Strip yourself naked and look at yourself in the damn mirror. I always tell people to do that. One or two things is going to happen when you do that shit. You either going to like the motherfucker you see or you're going to hate that motherfucker you see. And if you like that person that you see, then guess what? You at least got half the battle done. Now you need to keep walking in that. But if you don't like the motherfucker that you see, then you need to go and have to ask yourself an underlying truth here and say, okay, what do I need to do to make myself like that motherfucker that I see in the mirror? This is what it's going to take. And once you've asked yourself that question, that's when purpose is activated. Because now you are now going from what's called reactive to proactive. Because guess what? You've already solved the sickness. The sickness was this limitation of, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going through life. You've already solved that by asking that ugly truth to yourself. Because what do they always tell you in rehab? The first sign of the healing from rehab is basically stepping out of a place of indeniability, right? Basically saying that I'm no longer in denial about what's going on. Once you stepped out of that place, now you can walk in this thing called purpose. And as you're making this walk, trust me, whatever it is that you're good at, whether if it's doing hair, whether if it's, talking to people, whether if it's being a motivational speaker, whatever, you're going to figure it out. And then once you figure that out, now that's when you get the ground running and you do everything that you got to do to push that by any means necessary. And you don't care if it looks ugly in the beginning. You don't care about that. There's beauty in the fucking journey. You just care that you get the ground running and trust and believe the fact that you're doing what you're supposed to, everything will be added onto you. Because there's a lot of people, they just sit there in these churches and these pews and say, God bless me, God do this. But there's an action that God loves that corresponds with faith. It's called works. And last time I checked, faith without works is dead. I'm going to say that again. Faith without works is dead. It's the proverbial saying that when people use that universal term of saying God helps those who helps themselves. Well, that's not really a verse. The verse is faith without works is dead. But I get the gist of what they're talking about. And I'm giving you guys the verse that corresponds behind it. You gotta put in the fucking work. You gotta put in the work, man. And if you don't put in that work, you're not going to get where you need to get to. No one is going to stop He Knows His Sports confidence. The only person that can stop He Knows His Sports confidence is He Knows His Sport. That's the mentality you have to have. You have to be maniacal. You have to be diabolical with this thing called purpose. Purpose is like competing, man. Act like you playing basketball, right? Isn't that what Eric Ty say? Act like you playing football. Compete. That's what you guys are going to have to do. Fucking compete, man. Because this is what life is about. It's about competition. It's about that term that Tom Ross says, separating the weak from the strong. That's what life is about, man. Pushing yourself. Keeping the proverbial foot on the damn neck. Where'd you guys think that terminology came from? You think I just pooped that out of my ass? No. It's literally what it is. All gas, no brakes. Keep the foot on the damn necks. Because when you keep the foot on the necks, guess what? You're in a position of power. You're in a position that you command. And when you have purpose, you don't let nobody play in your face. You don't let nobody disrespect you. Your time is precious and you got shit to get done. This is what purpose is all about, man. And I'm telling you guys, when all of you guys start activating this stuff and you start allowing this stuff to manifest, shit, even if you need to watch me and let me throw some of that purpose on you, I'm going to fucking do it. It is what it is. But bottom line is, it's about survival of the fittest. Just like Joseph Selbu said. Jay Cooley said, what's up, Brad? I haven't seen you in a while, fam. Been working on some things, man, but I'm back, ready to go, active and hard. But the bottom line is, that's what it's about, man. And people need to understand that. People need to get into this mindset that if you're going to make some change in this life and you're going to push yourself and you're going to get to the next level, you're going to have this purpose, man. You're going to have to drive yourself on a level that's just what it is. We all have a gift. We need to tap into that gift, know what that gift is, operate in that gift, and put the foot on the damn necks, all gas, no brakes on the damn gift. That's what purpose is about. Because let me tell you something. People die. People leave. People come. People go. There's seasons. The Bible tells you there's a time to reap and there's a time to harvest. But one thing that's an underlying thing that can't stop is purpose. Purpose is like procreation. It has to keep happening. And we say it again, purpose is like procreation. It has to keep happening. And once you found that purpose and you find what you're dedicated in, you find what you love, man, you operate in that thing. You swim in that motherfucker like it's the ocean. and you live in it, you damn near were molded by it, man. You want to feel it each and every single time. And you know when you working on your purpose, you know when you living in your purpose, because every day you wake up, you're like, damn, I gotta add to the purpose. I gotta add. You know, trust me, you gonna know when you done touch that lifeline of that purpose. Because every day you wake up, I gotta add something to it. You get obsessed. I just got money on my mind, my mind on money, money on business, my mind on business, business on my mind on purpose, purpose on my mind. My mind is driven's on my mind. Like it takes over you, man. But it's a good takeover, not a bad takeover. And this is what it should be about. And hopefully, you guys have gotten this information, you've gotten this message, and you guys are able to understand more that it's bigger than us, man. It's about our mindset and how our mindset needs to equate to upward mobility. Not watching other people have other stuff, but us actually attaining it ourselves. Because there's a lot of folks out here, they just want to show you what they got and want to kind of keep you downtrodden so that you can see that they're above you. They don't want you to get to their level. They kind of want you to still, appease them at their level. No, it's not about that with me. I want to see everybody graduate, especially folks like us, folks that look like me, folks, Black individuals. I want to see us become men and women of confidence, purpose, and an abundance mindset. I love my own. I've never hid that. I never will hide that. So the bottom line and the underlying truths is purpose has to be something that you are contaminated with. It has to be something that you are possessed by. It has to be something that drives you, man, because that's how you're going to get to the next level. That's my definition of purpose.
Well, man, definitely, dropped a lot of gems, man. I agree, man.
All right. Lastly, we're going to talk about the loner's life of a true alpha, man. What is that for you, man? How do you see that?
Well, that's very interesting, man. A life of a true alpha, a true lone wolf life this is not something that just came out of nowhere. This has been just living through life and just trying to find myself pretty much ever since I was young. I've always felt that I don't know, I was always the odd man out of the group. Now for all of you guys that don't know, so basically, I haven't really introduced myself. So, my name is Jacob LONEWOLF. I'm born and raised in Melbourne, and when I was a kid, what I used to love watching when I was a kid was WWE. I was a big wrestling fan. I've been watching wrestling ever since I was 5. So I was on Lewis Sports Network TV podcast, the other day, doing a live stream with him.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about, wrestling. So, that's just, I'm just trying to introduce people on who I am. I feel like, with me, the true life of a lone wolf is that it's mainly that you're an introverted person. Now, some people, they get it mixed up that if you're an introverted person, that you're antisocial. I've had this happen to me numerous times where, people will talk shit behind your back and they'll say, why doesn't he talk to no one? Like, what is he antisocial? No. See, when you're an introverted person, you're social by nature. We're social by nature. We're social creatures, but you're selective with who you're social with. So, thus, in terms, living a lone wolf lifestyle is that you're open to everybody, but the type of people that you want to be around. But at the end of the day, it's all about you. It's all about your happiness. It's all about self-preservation. It's all about doing what you like and living the life of a lone wolf. I feel like you have to live that life in order to find who you really are in this big world. Because this world is, if you don't really know who you are, it's a big as empty world, and you have to constantly reinvent yourself every single day and figure out what your life purpose is. Because when you're around other people and they're not like-minded and they're just people that are completely different from you and they're not as ambitious. I like to call them, I think there was like a TV show called The Walking Dead, right? Now, The Walking Dead, most people think that, oh, it's just a TV series. But The Walking Dead pretty much, it's like a documentary of how most people are. They walk around, like that, not knowing not knowing anything. They're brain full of mush. It's like the sheep, it's like the herd, you know. Why do you think when someone is a groupie, they call them a sheep? Because let's just keep it real, sheep are probably the dumbest animals in the world. Because you know why? Because the sheep will follow, they can see a herd. Let's just say if there's a cliff, right? And they know that if they walk over that cliff, they're gonna fall. So if they see the other herd going to that cliff, they're gonna follow the same herd, knowing that their life is gonna be in danger. Whereas if they were sticking to themselves and they were true to themselves, they would be like, no, I'm gonna go my own way because I know that if I go my own way, I'm gonna be all right, So I feel like when you're by yourself and you're a lone wolf, you know what you want to do. You know who you are. And knowing who you are is not complicated. It's knowing what you like and what you don't like. It's knowing the type of food that you like or the type of food that you don't like, the type of woman that you like or the type of woman that you don't like, So it's all about figuring things that, that you feel comfortable with and that bring out the best in you. That's what I feel like, being a lone wolf is, yeah, it may have some rebelness to it, but I feel like, for me, in order for me to be great, sometimes not sometimes, most of the times, the reason what pushes me is that I feel like I'm ostracized. I feel like the world is against me.
Exactly.
I always look at like I'm out here, people are against me. No one shares the same view as me. You know what? Fuck all you motherfuckers. I'm gonna go at this alone. I don't care. I don't care if I die. I'd rather die than to be a slave. I don't care, man. Like I've seen other alphas that have done what I've done, and I've seen how they've lived their life, like the HeKnows. So I'll be ashamed if I wasn't living up to my standard. So in order for me to grow and to be myself, you have to be a lone wolf lone wolf in nature, right? But a lone wolf, my definition is, it doesn't stop meaning that you're closed-minded. See, when you're a lone wolf, once you figure out who you are, then you want to identify other people that share the same values as you and that are like-minded as you. Now, you may not hang out with them every single day, or you may not talk to them every day, but that one time that you meet up, like I said before, it's a power hangout. Like a power hangout, man. Like you come out a different person every time, you hang out with someone that's just as like-minded as you. You walk out thinking, oh shit, I didn't look at it that way. I didn't think of it that way. Life is a puzzle, and you're trying to look for pieces to put in the puzzle board to know what it is. So, being a lone wolf, there's an alpha in it, and that's how I, came up with my last name, Lone Wolf, is because I know that, hey, maybe I am a lone wolf. Maybe there's a lot of people that don't see things the way I do. Maybe this is who I am. So I have to be comfortable, being in my own skin, because I know that when I'm in a group and and I'm listening to everyone around me and listening to their opinions, and they don't have my best interest, but it's group interest, then I know that it's not for me. Because I know that the thing is, right, when you're in a group, right, you have to sacrifice a part or a lot of who you are in order to basically give to the group, in order to give something of value to the group, is you have to sacrifice a lot of who you are, whether it be, whether it be engaging in a lot of bullshit, gossip. He knows, like most people, and I spoke about this on my channel, Finding Yourself in This Big World, is that when people hang out, what is the main things that people talk about when they're in a conversation with other people? It's usually about other people. It's never about, oh, what are you doing? Like, what are your goals? What is going on in business, traveling, family? It's always about, oh, did you see that girl? Oh, she's dating that guy. It's always about relationships. I've noticed this. It's always about relationships. Oh, he dumped her. Yeah, they were married. Blah blah blah. Just the stupid, the unimportant things that go on in the grand scheme of things, like the littlest unimportant things, and that's what I've noticed is that people that are the groupies, they're always concerned about what other people are doing. And people who are true lone wolves, people that are alphas, they're always concerned about their purpose. They're always concerned about what's next, where do I go in life, And if you look at the wolves, this is one reason why wolves are my favorite animals, is that once they've been abandoned by the pack, do they just stand there and be like, oh, guys, why'd you leave me? Why? Like I thought you were this and that. No, they go out and they go out and they hunt, and they be a true lone wolf, See, even though there's power in being in a wolf pack, the thing is, right, when they hunt an animal, they have to share the food like a lion. But when you're a true lone wolf and you hunt the food, that food is all yours. So you're able to eat it all up, and you're able to, it goes back to having an abundance mindset, is that that it can go either ways, So with me, being a true lone wolf is figuring out who you are, and it's keeping to yourself a lot. And because I feel like once you're keeping to yourself, you're able to, be quiet, and you're able to, the more quiet and the more you listen to yourself, the more you're able to know who you are, and you try to identify other people that are just like you. So with me, living the true lone wolf lifestyle is that I'm not like isolated, but it's more of like you have to be kind of isolated to a standpoint to where you have to figure out who you constantly are, who the type of people you are, your temper, knowing that, hey, if I hang out with these people, I know they're going to say some wild shit to me and we're going to have to fight, so I know it's best not to hang out with these people and to hang out with these people that are going to bring out the best in me, and they're going to challenge me, and they're going to tell me things that I may not want to hear, but I know they have my best interest at heart, So living the true lone wolf lifestyle to me is that, yeah, you have to live the life, you have to be to yourself and that, but you also have to figure out other people that are just like you, so then you can come together, and you can grow. So man, that's just the true lone wolf lifestyle. And also, I didn't touch on this. The true lone wolf lifestyle is always questioning things, challenging the status quo. Look at some of the prominent figures throughout history. Why are they famous? Is because they challenge the status quo. Like MLK, in the 60s, when Black people were being discriminated in the United States, he felt, no, man, this is not right. I want to go against the grain. I want to go against the norm. Malcolm X, all these other guys. Also, a lot of people don't know Gaddafi. Gaddafi was, I think it's the president. He was the Libyan president that was executed by the United States, and we don't know why he was executed, but we do have reasons why. Because he wanted to take his currency off the U.S. dollar. He didn't want to be he don't want to be subject to the U.S. dollar anymore. He wanted to create the gold dinar, and he wanted to create an alliance with a lot of African countries so they can make their currency stronger. And they assassinated him for that. So these are examples on why 90% of the population, they're not true lone wolves, because they know that being a true lone wolf is almost like you have to be willing to sacrifice your life. You have to be willing, in order to, bombarded. You have to be, you're going to be assassinated. But in doing that, even after your death, like we've seen, like people that after they've died, they're still alive, like the Michael Jackson, the Martin Luther Kings, like Malcolm X. The people are still continuing their life, whether it be they may use a quote of theirs, such and such said this, So I've always looked, their memories alive, and that's always in quotes. That's always in their life story. So a lone wolf is a mentality, it's a way of life, and it's a way of having the abundance mindset to know that you're independent. You're not dependent on other people to make you happy. Your happiness comes from within, and knowing who you are, and knowing what you like, and knowing that I'm not gonna compromise who I am just to just to be the popular dude in school, to be the popular girl in school. But I'm never gonna compromise, to be someone I'm not. I'm just gonna compromise to be who I am. So that's just how I look at it, man.
That's a great point. And you hit on a lot of thumbs and a lot of needles, man. That's what it's all about, hitting on the thumb and on the needle of the situation. Here's the thing. There's distinction, there's levels to this stuff, man. Everybody always hear me say levels. I'm not the biggest Meek Mill fan there is, but at the same time, I love this Meek Mill song. There's levels to this shit. Because in that song, he talks about levels, and he talks about gears, and he talks about how everyone is different in the levels and the gears, because no one's the same. No one's on the same level. Anyone that tells you that, they're sadly mistaken. Everything's different. There's levels, man. Nothing is on the same level. Now, when we think of that, we jump into the caveat and add on to what you say and compact it. The difference between alphas and a true alpha. When you think of a werewolf pack, right? The werewolf pack has betas, you know what I'm saying? They have, not only do they have betas, but the werewolf pack also have their soloists, you know what I'm saying? The solo alphas out there, those are the loners. They're not part of a pack, you know what I'm saying? They're kind of just in their own little world. They're not considered alphas. They're not considered betas. They just by themselves. But in a pack, you have the beta and you have the alpha. But here's the thing. Alphas can be the ones to dominate a pack, right? For hundreds of years, up until 100 years. But once every 100 years, just like I tell you guys, we are separated one every 1,000 miles. There's a true alpha. The true alpha is the rarest form of an alpha. He's the rarest kind because he's shrouded in myth, right? He's said to be appearing once every 100 years. The true alpha is the canine creature or werewolf version of what the werewolf is supposed to be. Usually the werewolves are more kind of in the mindset of what we would say, how should I say this? They're kind of humanoids, so to speak, but whether they're betas or alphas, right? But the true alpha in the pack is more of a werewolf creature form, right? More of a werewolf version of who he is. And the reason for that is because he's come into the evolution or the full inaction of his alphahood. This is why the transformation of the werewolf comes into play. This is why they look like a werewolf in humanoid form, right? It's because they've activated that fullness of being an alpha. Now, I say all of that to say this. True alphas is a very, 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 very rare fraternity. Shit, an alpha is a rare fraternity. Just the fact that you're an alpha puts you in rarefied company because most people operate in what we call beta mindsets or in beta ways. And the way to know the distinction between someone that operates in that manifestation versus someone that doesn't operate in that manifestation is someone that operates in the beta mindset is someone that's dependent on others. Someone that falls under the subservience of others, in the sense of everything has to be dictated by others. They don't dictate their own pace. They don't dictate their own way of seeing things. They don't dictate their own way of moving. They don't dictate how they govern themselves. This is what alphas do. This is what even the more truer and rarer form of a true alpha does. So when you hear me use these terminologies, it's coming from a place. Now, bottom line is this. If you are an alpha, you have to fight for your alphahood every day. I'm going to tell you guys the underlying truth. Just because you call yourself an alpha don't mean you're an alpha. I'm going to tell you that right now. You got to fight for that motherfucker every day. Because you can wake up the next day and go right back to being a beta. Because it's a mindset. It's not only a privilege to have the title. It's not only a distinction. It's a constant fighting to maintain that title. And people have to understand what that means when you have to do these types of things. It means that you constantly have to arm yourself up with a mindset that you are going to be a soloist in the way that you think. You are going to be an individual. People will hate you for it. They will fucking call you selfish. They will say you don't know what the hell you're talking about. They will say, damn, man, why are you so, self-absorbed and self-oriented? It takes that mentality to be an alpha, whether male or female. It takes that mentality because you're going to a place that most people don't go to. Again, this is the abundance mindset. When you think of abundance mindset in its simplest form, it's confidence. That's what it is. So the question is, do you have the confidence or do you don't? This is what puts you in abundance mindset, and this is what takes you out of it and throws you into a scarcity mindset. It's the same thing with an alpha and a beta. How do you know the distinction between the two? Alphas always have a continuance of confidence. They have a continuance of remaining cool, calm, and collected in high pressure situations. They thrive in those moments. Betas don't. And if you take stock of yourself in your life, if you are that guy that's constantly being so quick to get tempered, you're not an alpha. If you are that person that anything can just rattle you on any whim, you're not an alpha. If you're that person that when pressure comes your way or misery comes your way, you buckle under the mighty blow of that pneumonia of that pressure, you're not an alpha. Because alphas, they thrive in these moments. This is what shows them the separation. Remember, alphas are part of what we call a hierarchical formation. They are the leaders. They're the ones that call the shots. They are the ones that stand out. They're the ones that have the aura oozing out of their bodies that when they just walk into the room, people are like, damn, who the fuck is that? I'm going to say that again. When they walk into a room, they're like, who the fuck is that? That's what people do when I step into a room. I know this to be true because I hear it all the time. When I walk into a room, motherfuckers like, who the fuck is this? Because I'm oozing that shit. But I gotta fight for that motherfucker every day. I don't just wake up and say, I'm an alpha, I'm a true alpha. No, I gotta fight for that shit every day. It's something that I gotta put on every day. So I'm telling you guys all of this to say that it's something that you guys have to put on every day. Because it's a small fraternity. And again, what this defines you as an alpha? What defines you as a true alpha? It's your purpose. See, if you're not bullshitting with your life and you getting on your stuff and you're doing what you're supposed to and you're following what you're supposed to do, like Lewis just said, 2020 is the year of eyesight, clear vision. Yes, it is that. The bottom line is that people need to understand that when it's all said and done, it's about pushing yourself. And the reason why you have to fight for this stuff every day is because it's not given to you, man. It's something that you got to go out there and work, man. It's something that you got to go out there and prove. Every day you're proving it. You're proving it through your temperament. You're proving it through your ability to handle pressure. You're proving it through your decision making. You're proving it through your discipline factor. Whatever you are not disciplined in life, how you need to become disciplined in that. That's how you develop these alpha-like behaviors. You're proving it in being time efficient and time oriented and not playing with your time. You're proving this when you step out in faith and say that, you know what, I'm going to follow my passion come hell or high water. Each and every single day, no matter what it is, no matter if I put even 2 cents in it, I'm going to do that. That's the distinction between the alpha and the beta complex here. Now, I know we've joked about it in sports and we joke about it here and there, but there's reality to it. And anyone that tells you that alpha beta shit, you got to push it to the wayside, be very careful of that person, because that's a person that is clearly operating and functioning in a beta mindset, and they just don't want to deal with it. Because when it's all said and done, there's truths behind this. And you know how you could tell the distinction between someone that's an alpha and a beta, whether they're male or female, is how they move, the way they move. If you pay attention to a person long enough, you can see. Maya Angelou said, when a person shows you who they are, believe them that first time you see who they are. Believe them. And if you pay attention to someone, you can see if there's alpha-like behaviors or beta-like behaviors. How do you develop becoming an alpha? You need to fall your ass up on the other alphas. This is the coded rule. Because, again, it's about rearming yourself up. I have weekly sessions with alphas. They know who they are. You know why I do that? Because it's imperative and it's important that I do shit like that. Because I have to hold myself accountable. I need to talk to another alpha-like individual with an alpha mindset and an alpha complex. Because I need to let them check me if I'm off my damn dean. See, when you hear me guys, when you guys hear me use these terms, stay on your dean. Make sure you on your dean. Stay on it. There's a reason why I keep saying this. Because it's a level that you reach that when you're at that level, anything you do can get you out of that level. Because it's such a hard level to be at. It's so difficult. And you got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to have the mindset, and you got to be willing to be authentic and consistent in that level. And if you're not, at any given point, you off of it. And when you off of it, you need to be talking to those who are on it to get your ass right back on it. And this needs to be quick, fast, and hurry like UPS. Let me say it again. It needs to be quick, fast, and hurry like UPS. Because if you let too much time elapse, you done fail your ass in betahood. It's that fucking simple. So remember, the prerequisite of being an alpha is putting in the work, staying on your purpose, and being consistent to maintain it. Because you got to work for it each and every single day. It's not something that's given to you. We see this in basketball when we see the work ethic of a Michael Jordan and a Kobe Bryant. We see that in them. We see this in football, you know what I'm saying? When we sit there and we look at the likes of a Tom Brady and his ability to do surgery on body like, hey, doctors, the dedication, the maniacal dedication this man have to say, I'm not quitting at this age. I got 6 Super Bowls, but fuck it, I'm going to keep doing what I got to do. We keep seeing that. But see, us as Black folks, because I'm bringing it back to the topic at hand, is we've been enslaved to have a beta mindset when really we've always been alphas. We just need to learn how to uncripple that mindset and activate our alphahoods when it comes to being looked at as lesser than or just accepting status quo. That's the distinction. That's the separation. That's the differential. That is the underlying truth that's going to define what an alpha looks like and what a beta looks like. And again, it's a daily fight. It's a daily struggle. It's a daily thing that you have to deal with, man. And people think, oh, well, look at this person. You know what I'm saying? They have this mindset. You know, they just full of themselves. When you hear people talk like that, that's just because they don't understand that you have to be like that. Because if you're not like that, then who the hell is going to be like that for you? Remember, self-preservation is the law of the land. You have to have an obsession somewhere, right? Now, are you going to have obsession for something bad, or are you going to have obsession for something good? I choose to have obsession for something that's good. Don't let nobody tell you they're not obsessed with anything. That's bullshit. Everybody's obsessed with something. The question is, what are you going to be obsessed with that's going to yield you positive results, or what are you going to be obsessed with that's going to regress you? That's that thin line between alpha and beta. The beta line always causes regression. It causes stagnance. The alpha line is upward mobility, pushing yourself forward, always looking for the next, never being satisfied where you're at, and always pushing yourself to get to that next level. That's the mindset. So I say all of that to say that we need to arm ourselves up as men, because this generation after generation after generation of men is getting worse and worse and worse. If you look at the old school guys, they have more of an alpha mindset, man. They just didn't put up with certain shit. And if you find yourself having beta-like tendencies and beta-like ways, then you're going to have to arm yourself up with some alphas, man, and start getting yourself around these crowds. Because believe it or not, it's not just about being in your own head and being in your own space. We're human beings. We have to learn. We have to evolve. We need to grow. We need to graduate our mindset. And we need to be checked. I'm Mr. Checks. I'll check a motherfucker quick, fast, in a hurry. Everybody that knows that about me knows. You've seen it. I mean, Jacob Longwood was even shocked when I checked my own flesh and blood. I will fucking check you. Because I don't play. When it comes time to check, I'm ready for it. It's game. But at the same time, I'm also ready for somebody to check me too. See, this is the way the check game plays. It cuts two ways. You can't just be always ready to check a motherfucker, but then they can't check you. No. It don't work like that. Because you don't have it all figured out. So the same way that I love to check somebody, I love it even more when somebody checks me. You know why? Because that's a learning time for me to evolve. See, everybody always look at the negative of something when something happens in such a way like that. I don't see the negative behind that. I see nothing but positivity, because that means there was a misstep. That means there was a miscue. That means there was something that I didn't do that I was supposed to do, that I needed that proverbial checking to get me where I needed to go so that I can get back online. I love it when somebody could check me and get me back on my thing, because guess what? There's a learning curve there. There's a learning experience. There's a learning process there. So what I'm telling you guys, this is something that you guys need to put that armor on, is also being willing to accept constructive criticism. This is what I'm talking about here. Because that is also what's part of the alpha lifeline. You can't call yourself an alpha if you're not willing to accept correction. I'm going to say that again. You cannot call yourself an alpha if you're not willing to accept correction. Because the separation between the alpha and the beta is the alpha doesn't mind accepting when they're wrong about something. If you guys notice on YouTube, when it comes to boxing predictions or basketball predictions, I think I'm the only one that does that. And Tom Ross can denote to that. He can speak to the respect of that. I think that's what made him gravitate towards the channel. I'm the only one that if I don't have a prediction right, I'm not going to sit here and be all quiet like everybody else. I'm going to say I got the shit wrong. I picked this person to win the fight. They didn't win the fight. I'm going to say that I got this person wrong. You know why? Because when you say that you are the person that you say that you are, you have to show it by action, man. You have to. There has to be an action that corresponds. You can't just say it because it sounds cute. There has to be an action that goes behind it. So I don't mind saying that. What do I lose? What, just a few words? Who gives a damn? This is not gonna be the difference. And it's not gonna be the difference between make or break. People are gonna get stuff wrong. People fail. That's part of life. But I know eventually I'm gonna have succession. I know that I can toot my own horn the next time and say, and the prediction king strikes again on something else, because I'm gonna be right about something else, even though I'm wrong about something else. I ain't gonna always be wrong. But when I'm wrong, I gotta fess up and accept that. That's the differential, and that's the distinction between grown-ass men and little boys. That's the separation, and that's the distinction between grown-ass women and little girls. Being able to admit when you're wrong, when you had a misstep, you had a miscue, and figuring out a solution quick, fast, in a hurry like UPS to get your ass up out of there. Because that's what it takes to be part of this special fraternity. That's what it takes. I'm just giving you guys the blueprint. That's what it takes. 3, And I want y'all to get that notepads out and get to the damn scribbling. It's 3 prerequisites to stay in this alpha lifeline. 1, you gotta have purpose. You gotta continue with that purpose. 2, you gotta maintain that mindset. You can never waver away from that mindset. And 3, you gotta be willing to accept correction. If you follow these 3 authentically and consistently, then you are in line with the lineage of what an alpha or alpha is all about. That's what it boils down to. Otherwise, kick freaking rocks, and bottom line, you may as well just throw yourself out of the pile. That's what it boils down to. And people have to understand that mindset has to be there, man. It has to be there. And it has to be continual. It has to be a continuum. It has to continue to push itself. Because if it doesn't, then what is there? Then why the hell are you doing what you're doing? So I say all of that to say this. Stay on your damn purpose. Stay consistent. And be willing to accept when you're wrong about something. Because if you're willing to accept these things, then you're in line and you're in lineage of what God has created you to be. Because God is an alpha-like being. His whole being is alpha. There's nothing beta about him. So you thought he created you to be a beta? Come on now. So just think about that for a second. That's all I got to say. Jacob Lonewolf, close us out, man.
I appreciate you, HeKnows, for thinking out.
Wait, hold on. You coming in distorted.
Did you hear me? Can you hear me right?
I can hear you, but let me do this real quick. Let me kick you from the studio, and then I'm gonna get you back in.
Okay.
Okay. Come back in after you're out, okay? So while Jacob Lonewolf is coming back in, I just want to close out with making sure that you guys hit that subscription button, comment, like, and share. Make sure you guys, subscribe to that brother's channel, Finding Yourself in This Big World. I put the link in there. Tom Ross, throw your link for the book again. Tom Ross got a book out there that he worked on. This is the link for Jacob Lonewolf's channel that's been put out there. Make sure y'all subscribe to the brother's channel. He's well beyond his years. He's young, but he's vibrant, and I got to give him that. Make sure y'all check out Tom Ross and check out his link to his book. And make sure y'all subscribe to HeKnows Sport. As you guys see it, the banner down low, it says donations are welcome. Back, money sign, that heat and that fire. Donate, we're giving you guys gems. And when a man works, he shall reap the reward, and he shall be compensated for the work that he puts in. So work was put in, and compensation is now due. So make sure y'all donate, man. Or make sure y'all hit that Cash App button. But anyways, Jacob Lonewolf, close us out, brother.
Yeah, I thank HeKnows, for thinking highly of me to have this live stream. I on my YouTube channel, I've had HeKnows, his sport, come on twice, and I invited him on, to talk about life. So it was a no-brainer for him to, invite me to talk about these subjects. And yesterday when I was messaging him, and he messaged me all the topics, I was like, yeah, man, like those are all topics that, I was excited to talk about, and I was like, yeah, man, like I'm on board. So yeah, also, if you want to subscribe to my channel, it's called Finding Yourself in This Big World. And I created it like last month. So I haven't created videos in a week. So I'm just waiting for a couple of things to come through next week so I can make my channel, more professional, and just, I'm trying to provide better content, so with me, I'm very, hard on myself, when it comes to like, creating things. And, HeKnows, always tells me, there's beauty in the struggle. So, always, work with what you have. And yeah, so, I drop, my channel is mainly about just about life and also about investing, that was one thing, I was going to talk about with the carrot bars is that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wanted to talk about, this thing to your audience, because I felt like, during these tough times, the job market is obviously scarce, so a lot of people, unfortunately, you're not going to get hired. And what's happening is we're in the digital age right now. So I was reading an article. Fitzgerald was telling me on my live stream. So for anyone that doesn't know Fitzgerald is my mentor in Carrot Bars, and he's one of my upline sponsors. And he lives in Tampa, Florida. In the Florida area, and he told me that did you know that like more than 40% of jobs that have been lost during this coronavirus are not going to come back? That's what he said to me. And what you're going to see is that you're going to see automation, like in factories. A lot of the jobs that people used to work at, they don't need you no more. They just use robots. So we also see how things are changing. And I was like, man, like what am I going to do right now? So the way I found out about Carrot Bars was that I'm subscribed to some guy called Dinus Amiri. Search for Huru. That's his YouTube channel, and his channel is mainly about Africa. And he's been to at least 16 African countries. And I was a fan of his content, and he'd always have Fitzgerald on, and he would always talk about Carrot Bars. And so I want to briefly explain to you what Carrot Bars is. Carrot Bars is it's a network marketing company. It's a company based out of Stuttgart, Germany, and it is the largest distributor of small gold increments. So our product is gold. Now, why is gold a valuable asset? Gold is a very valuable asset because it's a precious metal. You hear a lot of the times, a lot of financial experts or people like Robert Kiyosaki, who's the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, he said that gold is God's money. And a lot of the times we work at jobs and we work for paper currency. Now, paper currency is not money, it's currency. It's a medium of exchange. In 1971, President Nixon, the U.S. president, he took the U.S. dollar off the gold standard. Now, the reason why this is such a big thing is because if currency is not backed by anything, it's devalued, thus pushing the prices up high. So that's why when you go to stores, a lot of the prices are expensive. Prices keep rising up every single year because of inflation. But it's not because inflation is not the rises of prices, it's the devaluation of the currency, because a lot of currencies in the world are not backed by gold, and gold is actual money. Gold goes up in value. In 1920, you could buy a car for a kilogram of. You can buy a car for $645. So back in the 1920s, the currency, the Federal Reserve note, was as valuable as a kilogram of gold. Now, fast forward to 2020, you can't buy a car for $645. You can't even buy certain parts of the car for $600. That same car now you have to pay $40,000. But that kilogram of gold can still buy you not just one, maybe even 5 times that amount of the cars. So it can buy you 5 more cars. So our product is gold, and gold is always appreciating an asset. People have said that in the next 10 years, that gold is currently at like $1,700, the price right now for an ounce of gold. People are saying that it's going to shoot up to $8,000 in the next 10 years. And this is how Carrot Bars work. So if you want to, if you're looking for ways to create residual income, what you do is, you need someone to sponsor you. So I'll sponsor you. So the way you start with Carrot Bars is you click on my affiliate link. Now, when you click on my affiliate link, it takes 5 to 7 minutes to create your account. Now, if you're a slow typer, maybe 12. So once you download that, what you want to do is you get your business package. Now, once you've automatically created your account, you're automatically in business in 140 plus countries worldwide. Notice how powerful that is, because a regular brick and mortar business store, you're only subjugated to that one location. Whereas with Carrot Bars, it's international, it's global. So you can earn money from Ethiopia, from China, wherever part of the world. So that's why you want to create an account. So when you create your account, you want to get your business package. Why do you want to get your business package? Because the business packages, you're eligible to get paid up to 5 to 10 times a month. Now, I'll show you right now what I mean. Now, this card right here, this is our Carrot Bars prepaid MasterCard. You see it right there? And you can get paid up to 5 to 10 times a month residually. There's no cap on income. So how do you get paid? The way you get paid is that you get your business package, you load up your KYC, so you have to, Carrot Bars wants you to upload some documents to know that you're a real person. After that, you order your prepaid MasterCard. Once you order your prepaid MasterCard, you tell other people about it. Now, once you get your Carrot Bars account rolling, Carrot Bars will automatically give you website links. They'll create your website link for you, and they'll create you your own like Carrot Bars franchise. So it's no different to a McDonald's, to where if you want to get a McDonald's franchise, you have to pay millions of dollars. With this Carrot Bars business, it's free. There's no monthly minimums that you have to pay. Nothing. You can create your accountants and you can buy the products whenever you feel like it. So that's what it is. So once you get your links, what you do is you get your affiliate link, right? And then you tell other people and you'd be like, hey, do you look for ways to make money? Do you look for ways to create residual income? Do you look for ways to save in gold? And if they say yes, okay, sign up as my affiliate. Click on the link right there. And then once they click on the link, you help them. And then if they want to buy a business package, they can. Now, there's 4 different types of business packages. There's the bronze, there's the silver, there's the gold, and there's the VIP. You want to get your VIP package because the VIP, you're able to get more. Now, if somebody, so there's different types of ways to get paid. So the VIP is 80 euros. So that's a dual team payout. So there's 2 main types that you can get paid. Now, when you sign someone up as you're an affiliate, when they buy a business package, you get 10% of that business package. So the bronze package is 180 euros. The gold package is the silver package is like 800 and something euros. The gold package is like 3,000 and something euros, and the VIP is 4,000 euros. So 10% of 4,000 euros, what do you think that's going to be? 400 euros. Now, equate euros to your currency wherever you live in the world. Where I live in Australia, that's like a lot of money, like 400 euros. Like that will equate to like 800 Australian dollars. So I'm making a lot of money by getting paid in a different currency. So that's why you want to get your high business package. So you get 10% off direct commission off the business packages that people buy once they sign up as your affiliate. And also another way you can get paid is there's something called units. Now, units is whereas when somebody buys products from Carrot Bars as you're an affiliate, Carrot Bars will automatically give you units. Now, once you have 2 teams on your Carrot Bars team, you have a left team and you have a right team. Now, if you have 50 units on one side and 25 units on the other side, no matter what side they're on, you'll get a dual team payout. Now, depending on your business package, if you have a bronze, you'll get paid 40 euros. If you have silver, you'll get paid 50 euros. If you have gold, you'll get paid 60 euros. And if you have a VIP, you'll get paid 80 euros. And the beautiful thing about it is that it will keep recycling automatically. If you have 50 units on one side and 25 units on the other side, Carrot Bars will keep paying you. You get paid every Friday on your MasterCard. There's unit level bonuses. There's incentives. If if you've sponsored a lot of affiliates and care about sees how you're working, you can earn prizes up to bracelets, Rolex watches, Mercedes C-Class Benz, E-Class cars, and Care Boss. This is another one. They can build you a villa anywhere in the world. They can build you a $750,000, 750,000 euros house anywhere part of the world. Once you put in the work, and they'll give you the title deed for free, and you can own a house free and clear with no debt. So this is what Care Bars is. So that's how I briefly explained it. Now, if you want to learn more about it, you can go, on my website, HeKnows, on my Facebook page, I usually have my website there. My Facebook page is Jacob LONEWOLF, and you can go on the realmoney.online/Jacob, and there's videos explaining what Care Bars is, so to back up what I'm saying. So that's all I gotta say.
Okay, man, you explained it. But bottom line is, the money's in getting the affiliates.
Yeah. So basically, once people have signed up, when they buy a package, you earn commissions, and they can build their team. So it's duplication. So you're becoming wealthy off leverage. See, the reason why people are wealthy is because they leverage their time and they leverage other people's efforts. It's called duplication. Now, the beautiful thing about Care Bars is, just because you might be at the top of the organization and the people that you sponsored under you, they can still earn more money than you. So it's not like when people say, "Oh, it's a pyramid scheme." Well, okay, if you want to say that about Care Bars, how about your job? There's always a pyramid. There's a pyramid there's a hierarchy in every situation. Now, when you work at a job, you're the employee. There's employee. There's a regional managers. There's the executive managers. There's the CEOs, and then there's owner. So when people will try to discredit what Care Bars is, and they'll say it's a pyramid scheme. But really, in life, there's a pyramid in everything. But one thing about Care Bars is that we actually get paid for talking about this business. Care Bars pays us a referral fee for telling other people to save in gold. So you save in gold that is going to go up in value in the near future. Plus, you don't have to exchange that gold for anything, because you're getting fees. You're getting paid in euros, and you can use that to pay student loan debt. You can buy a house, anything. So you're getting residual income by leveraging the work of others, and they're doing the same thing for their team. So it's duplication,
Okay. Bottom line is, you got to put in the work to reap the harvest. That's what I got from it. You explained it in layman's terms. So yeah, y'all check out Jacob LONEWOLF's channel, Finding Yourself in This Big World, because I'm sure he's going to have, I've checked the channel out. I've seen multiple videos where he's gone more in depth. He's had interviews with Fitzgerald Stevens, and they've talked about the Care Bars. So check his channel out. Check out his Facebook. And you guys are going to be able to see the links and everything that's associated with Care Bars. He explained it pretty good. He explained it to the simplest terms. I got it the first time that I heard about it. So appreciate you explaining that to us. And those that are interested, make sure you guys check with Jacob LONEWOLF, because, again, he's about upward mobility. And this is what it's about, upward mobility, finding the passion of what you're passionate about, whatever that is, and pushing yourself into that realm of passion. So, check that brother out. If you guys are interested, in Care Bars, I would definitely check him out so that he can give you some more information and kind of go more in depth, because he has it down to a science, and he can explain to you guys the, pros and the cons, so that way you guys can make your calculated decision on if you want to go ahead and get into it or not. But the way that he explained it was pretty self-explanatory. Now, bottom line is, you guys make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. Make sure y'all check out my boy Tom Ross TV, the #1 alpha. Subscribe to his channel. Check out Lewis Sports Network. Subscribe to his channel. The Life Edition, we're going to do this once a week. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to introduce it. This was the first rollout. I had a great guest the first time around in Jacob LONEWOLF. He will be back again. because this young brother right here is on upward mobility and upward tick, and he's well beyond his years. I like his mindset. He has a hungry, exuberant mindset. And this is the thing of what I tell you guys about purpose and being in line with succession. You have to shroud yourselves around those that have the same mindset so that you can push forward along with them. Because he's willing to do whatever it takes for him to get to where he needs to get to. And I can appreciate that and respect that, because that's what I'm doing in my lane. So appreciate everyone that showed up and showed out. Again, make sure y'all donate to the platform. The money sign, that heat and that fire, hit the Cash App button. Jacob, we're going to do this again. We're going to talk off rip, so that I can get some information from you. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate your contributions. Appreciate everything that you bring to the table. Keep that same energy. Keep that hunger. Keep that drive. Because, again, the three prerequisites of being a true alpha, the number one is to basically be willing to always, and I can't stress it again, always got to have that purpose. Always got to maintain that mindset, and always got to be willing to accept correction. You follow these three, and you keep these three in the back of your pocket, then you're in line of succession as well too. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this life edition, of HeKnows, the life edition live stream. We're going to bring more of this to you guys, because especially in times like this, people need something that's going to help them to get into their more purposeful, more abundant, and more total mindset. You guys enjoy yourselves. You guys have a great Tuesday. Jacob, appreciate you again. I'm going to have you again, and let me know when it's time for me to be interviewed on your show. Check me out when I'm being interviewed on Jacob LONEWOLF show, finding yourself in this big world. And I believe you and Tom Ross are eventually going to have to connect some way, somehow, some form. So I'm going to make that happen. You both connect somehow to where you guys are, he's either on your live or you're on his live, or however, if it's through this platform, however that's going to be. But I appreciate all of you guys. Daniel H. Alexander, yours truly, John Tyrone Spencer. Yes, it will be weekly. So I know you were looking forward to this. Actually, you were the inspiration behind it, because you've been asking for it. So we're going to give the people what they want, man. That's what it's all about, giving the people what they want. When the supply is there, the demand is there, you got to give them the supply. You know what I'm saying? Supply and demand 101. So y'all take care of yourselves. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do. Make sure y'all practice social distancing. Be safe out there. Keep your immune systems high. Take care of yourselves. And this was a great live stream, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Thank you. Peace.
Thank you, Jacob.
Okay.